Ladies and gentlemen, you are welcome to our advisory board meeting of the Moscow County Bar. Now, I am turning over to one of our board members, in person of Kastra Brown Boo, to read our statement on behalf of the board and the executive committee of the Moscow County Bar. Thank you.
The Board of Advisors of the Mansarado County Bar Association, Liberia's oldest and largest county bar association, states that the 28th of April 2025 statement issued by the President of the Liberian National Bar Association, LNBA, in response to the April 23rd, 2025 Supreme Court ruling concerning the impasse at the Liberian National Legislature was done without the knowledge, information, nor invitation to consult prior to the issuance of said statement. The Constitution of the Bar, Liberian National Bar Association, mandates that the Executive Council of the LMPA shall consist of the President of the 15 counties within the bailiwick of the Republic of Liberia and the elected officials of the LMPA. The Mansarado County Bar Association respectfully advises that henceforth, before a president of the LMBA makes an official policy statement on behalf of the Liberian National Bar Association, the Executive Council of the LMBA must discuss, agree, and discuss such statement prior to its publication or interview. Issue this first day of May on behalf of the Board of.
Welcome, Mr. Gibbon. Welcome.
Welcome to you, young man. Great job. How is the nation's capital?
The nation's capital is doing relatively good for my end in Pennsville.
Excellent.
How's your end?
Well, Florida, as usual, is beautiful all year round. The weather is beautiful. We're having a great time. I want to say welcome to Ahmed. Ahmed, how you doing there, young man?
Ahmed been in the back for like 30 minutes now. I've been watching him.
Oh, Ahmed, yeah. I want to see your face, man. Don't come out here without blackening. Show face. Joseph Wagana chasing you.
So welcome.
Thank you very much. I know you've been busy. There's a lot of news going on, a lot of shaking going on in the country, in the House, in the Senate, the Liberian Bar Association, the Minister of Labor. We're talking about, for Kofa, potential resignation. There's so much going on in Liberia. Like this other food here, like. I think like jollof got everything in it. It got pepper, chicken,
definitely,
everything in it. So it looks like we're gonna have a great day today.
Yeah, exactly.
Give us an update on your end. How has your week been going? How was your day? What were some of the issues that caught your attention that you want to maybe flag before we get into the meat of the day?
Okay, so thank you for giving me the opportunity. And I would like to say good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are following us from. This is the closing argument, and we are live on Truth FM in Monrovia and other radio stations carrying us live on this show here on the closing argument. So for Liberia, we have so many issues going on, and with these issues, we would like to highlight few issues that we like to talk on from our end here. So the first one is the House Speaker issue, where he disclosed the ongoing consultation with stakeholder about his resignation, and we are going to throw light on the issue about that. And we also have issue about the Labor Minister and Councillor Kupokra, and we are going to talk about that. And the last issue here is the Minister of Commerce and Industry, Madam Madeline, that's Madeline Dakose. So we have series of issues ongoing here. So as we go into the topic, we are going to discuss about that. So for now, we have three issues that we are going to discuss about from our end here.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of our great closing argument. If you are in Monrovia or you're in any part of the country, any part of the world, please do us a favor, share this show, make comments. We're going to read some of the comments. I'm going to be your guest host today. I'll be hosting for the chairman. He has some family matter to attend to, so we're going to be digging deeper into other issues besides what we just read. You may have heard, get this former lawmaker from Bomi County, Mr. Sando Johnson, said he will curse anybody's mom who messes with Joseph Boakai. After he made that, we were digging a little deeper, and we found out that he has already been appointed by the president. So now we see why he is protecting either his mouth, his belly, or his pocket. We are also going to look at the statement from Councillor Pewee about the issues going on in Liberia. And then we have also, there's a very foreign statement today from the former representative from Nimba County that wants to warn the vice president. So he says this by election should not give him any idea that he can claim to call himself the godfather of Nimba County. He says if the vice president was thinking about that, he should desist from that. So that was very good. Another one, Mr. Smith, he's calling upon the president to dismiss or suspend the finance minister and the justice minister for misleading, especially a man of the law, the justice minister, to mislead the president in what he did. And then on the side, the finance minister, he says, the finance minister was one of the architects of the law, the proper procedure in budgeting. And he went and misled the country by telling the president that it was an urgency, that the law needed, the budget needed to be passed effective immediately. All of those things he sees are deception, and he said they were deliberate and these people should be fired or reprimanded. So there's we have a platitude, we have a plate here full of some great stuff. I know Ahmed is going to have his say. I know the people on the ground, we're going to leave time for us to get some call and feel the pulse of the people in Liberia. But again, ladies and gentlemen, this is a new edition of our closing argument. You are invited to make comments, to make calls when the phone line is open. We are going to discuss these issues deliberately and intentionally. We are not going to mislead you. We're going to read them as they come in, and you have a choice. You have the opportunity to make comments. Mr. Ahmed, how you doing there, sir? See,
I will get to you in a minute. I'm getting ready.
Great. Okay, Myean.
Yes.
Let's leave the meat, which is the speaker thing. Let's leave that a little bit. Let's start with the Nimba issue, because the election in Nimba just finished, and the former lawmaker is very firm and very serious. Ex-Nimba lawmaker Torgbean warns against using Nimba by-election to declare VP Kun political godfather. He is very deliberate and very, very firm, and I'm going to read excerpts from that, then we can go into it. And this is Monrovia, Liberia. It says here, the race for the prestigious political godfather title of Nimba County is heating up, with former Representative Prince O.S. Torgbean criticizing Vice President Jeremiah Cohn bid to claim the title following the recent senatorial by-elections. Torgbean cautioned that the results of the election should not serve as a basis for Cone declaring himself as the new political leader of Nimba County. Myean, this is very strong. This is very tactical, but it's very, very direct. Mr. Torgbean is telling the vice president, don't run all over the place, beating your chest, going and walking around as though you are some godfather. He believes that title. Anyone who claims to be the godfather of Nimba County based on the by-election, in his estimation, is foolhardy. Let me welcome Mr. Torgbean. Are you doing that, young man?
Been a while.
Hopefully.
Yeah. How are you? I'm just trying to.
Go ahead.
I'm just trying to test up a little tonight and see what I can do. I'm just popping in. You know, the school has been tense, but it's good to be here today.
Come on. A media veteran say he's testing. Don't fool us here. But Mr. Peter, welcome. I know you are in Malaysia, right?
No, Singapore.
You are in Singapore. Excellent. Tell us a little bit about your experiences in Singapore. What is it you do in Singapore? And if you would do a little compare and contrast with where you're coming from and how's the law, how's the society, how's the culture, how's the academic rigor?
No, it's good to be here. I mean, getting adjusted to new systems and how the systems work. I'm in an international school, so you have predominantly people from all around the world come here. I think almost 60% of the students here come from the US. And we're not more than 2-3 Africans on the campus, but it's a good society. It's good to be here. And as we go on with the show, probably we can give our experience on some of the things we've seen so far, some of the working systems that we've seen so far. Like today, I tried to propose one of those systems in one of our chat rooms, which has got to do with what's happening right around us, like places like Nigeria, for example, where you have a train running throughout the country. It is my understanding that Metal Steel now intends to expand the railway in the country, basically for the iron ore. I have been proposing that we step beyond just expanding the train track for iron ore. We could make that more available for all. During the rainy season, the country is practically impossible. You cannot even enter the southeast of the country during the rain. So why not, as a country, as we begin these engagements with Metal Steel for their expansion, why not tell Metal Steel to begin thinking of something about a track that runs from the Freeport of Monrovia to the southeast of the country? Here, if you were taking 3-4 hours of a train ride, you would pay maybe around $20 to $30 as compared to if you were using a taxi to take that same route. So it's more accessible. It will be able to take more goods and services. It will be able to ease the difficulties in road transportation. In fact, someone will be thinking, how will Metal Steel raise that money? Metal Steel gives Grand Bassa $1 million every year. I think they're giving Nimba either $2 to $3 million. They are giving Bond County, I think, $500,000. So if you put all of these together and you say, look, Metal Steel for the next 3-4 years, let's sum this money up, let's help the system, we can work up a deal, and this deal is going to help Liberia in a long way. I was able to show something about Nigeria and how impactful train is now for the Nigerian society, moving people from one destination to the other. In fact, you're talking about goods and services coming to town. Train will be able to bring more goods to town as compared to buses being stuck in the mud, the government fighting all year round to fix the road to the southeast. We need to start thinking beyond the way we think in the country. And I think things will get better. So as we go on, yes, we'll give our experiences in different ways, but that's what
excellent, it is. Excellent. And one of the things that we have always talked about, and I've been very vocal, is why when we go to school in these countries and see some of the things, the development they have, and we enjoy it, And then when they get back to Liberia, when they get to the airport, it looks like the hard drive it goes blank. Everything is erased from there, and it becomes something else. So sometimes these things, we all know in the United States, I proposed it to the CDC folks. What made Dwight Eisenhower and these guys some of the great is the interstate highway. Everything else was put on hold and say, you know what? With the opening of interstate highway, the economy is going to quadruple. And they did that. And when you want to move people and products and commodity in volume, it is by train. I mean, if you can move a whole mountain of iron ore from Lamco, Yekepa to Buchanan, we talk about millions of tons of heavy stuff. You could move a whole county in about an hour. But that's for another show. We'll talk about that. But we have some issues that we want to talk about, and hopefully you will hang around long enough. We were talking about immediately before we get into the politics of Liberia. Mr. Torgbean had come out from Nima and warned the vice president, because it looks like the vice president has been beating his chest that they won this election. Now he is the godfather of Nima, and this man said he is saying not so fast. No one has exclusive right to Nima anymore to say you are the godfather. So he is warning the vice president, please do not take that nomenclature, do not take that moniker on your own. There is no godfather in Nima. Nimbayans are not monolithic in thinking, in thought, in religion. They are diverse. So he wants to put the vice president on notice. Your take on that topic, sir?
Yes, so I think he's very right. You've not tested the vice president significantly. I would say that clearly. And so to just come up to a conclusion that now he's the godfather of Nima is still debatable. It's still debatable. The last time he ran for himself, he had to get the support of Prince Johnson that everybody knew to be the godfather of the county. This time, it was Koga who was on the ticket. It had to be Koga's merit. You don't know the level of work probably that he had done in his district. I heard district number 5 or one of them that he had done in his district. Secondly, coming from the predominantly Nima Pure background. And so there are reports, and I think they said he said it publicly, that he's originally from Garguah County. That is the vice president. So there will be some mixed reactions amongst the people as to whether the vice president can be really grounded or trusted. But Koga's win cannot be 100% attributed to him. Koga has made his own headways in that county. Even contested when Prince Johnson didn't even hold his hands, when Prince Johnson didn't even support him at the time, Koga take him up victoriously. There were specific people. It was Koga. There's another old man who, I just forgotten his name, but he ran on the ANC ticket. These people have consistently opposed Prince Johnson, and they always won. So they've had their own clout beyond the whole godfather thing. There were some people that if Prince Johnson never held their hand, they would never win election in Nima. I think Koga had never been like that directly. So you cannot attribute a win for Koga to be like the vice president technically. And it is also my understanding that even Madam Kehleboe Gongloe was able to a little bit swell her votes as compared to the other times she contested before. Mm-hmm. So technically, she's becoming grounded in the Nima body politics. Even though you won her, but she's becoming a force to reckon with. I see her still becoming a potential person who will obviously come out of Nima in some preceding election. So if for any reason 2029, Kehleboe Gongloe plays a major political role in the Nima politics, it would be a dangerous ball game for the vice president. I think if they were to solidify the Nima solidarity, they need to start running behind Kehleboe, because Kehleboe will be the spoiler for them in any election in Nima. Because many of the votes is also very important. Nobody's going to leave it open to say, okay, yeah, the election happening, you don't have a real son or daughter on a ticket here in Nima, so anybody can do anything there, the people can come around. But the fact you have one person amongst you who is still a potential threat to any of you, It's a dangerous ball game. So all these variables, the issue about where he originally comes from, Grand Coup, the issue about Coca's own independence and the way he played, and the issue of Kehleboe Gongloe all get to play some role in whether or not you should now hastily say someone is a godfather of the county. I think the county is still open in my mind.
Great. Myean, I think Mr. Bieda is onto something here, because for someone who just won by 52%, there's no way you can say you are a godfather when I think if Prince Johnson was on the ballot, Bieda, you can correct me here. I don't have the numbers, but he got way more than 52%. I would say in the high 80s.
Or 60+%.
60, maybe 70%.
60 to 70, yes.
Yes, when he's running. Myean, talk to us. Will you consider somebody that won by basically a split to call himself the godfather?
No, we cannot consider the vice president to be the godfather of Nima County. Because Nima County, first of all, we should look at the county is a county with tradition. And looking at Nima County from just in the by-election, I was in the county. I took tour in the county, going around, speaking with the people, getting that view on how they think the election was to be like. And people expressed that view. And from that, when I look at it, there was a scene where I saw, I was on the scene, people were bullying at the vice president when his convoy was passing. So many towns and villages in passing, he were bullied. And we see it like the vice president is using the ruling government. They are using that power to overcome the people, because from just in the by-election, we saw it for ourselves, and we knew what went on there because we're in the county, and we saw what went on there, and we saw what the people were saying, and we heard from the people. The vice president cannot be, or we cannot say the vice president is the godfather of Nima County, because what the late senator did for the people of Nima, for him to overcome that victory, to say yes, I am the next godfather, is very difficult. We hope to see it, but as it stands now, we cannot confirm or we cannot say he's the godfather of Nima County, because the first thing we should look at, Koga is someone who he been in the county for a while. He been like 3-time representative, and because of the late Senator Johnson, he was the same cause that Koga been there for 3 terms. So looking at that, for the vice president to say he's the godfather, I think that statement was wrong, and the people of Nima will come up to say what they want to say, but for that, the vice president is yet to be the godfather of the county.
Great. Toga, let's look at, in the article here, they talk about the divisive politics of Koga and the vice president, when the vice president kept saying this position belonged to the guild and the manor should wait, and Koga on the other hand saying, when we men traditionally, when we are outside, women supposed to run inside, women are not supposed to do this, but yet and still, the people voted for him. So what are the Nima people saying? They got educated folks, they got people who, most of whom went to school in the West. When they come here, they behave, they integrate, and then they go home and they say women should not take part into public life. When men are outside, women should go inside. I mean, this is what I was talking about when we say once they get to RIA, their flash drive, their hard drive, they get erased and everything. Talk to us. Why so divisive a group of folks?
I would think that, and I was very shocked. Okay, I was particularly shocked because the time meaning of the election, when I started following statements from this guy, Prophet Key, for example, his divisive comments against the Mandingo people in the county, for example, I thought it was the end of the road for Koga, because I know how the people of this tribe can mobilize when they feel threatened. All right, so for Koga to have still pull all of that speaks volume to me, because I thought Prophet Key technically damaged that campaign. That divisive statement was under the bus for me. I thought it was over because I thought these group of people who have technically gang up to say, no, if these guys can start these sort of rhetorics, we'll be done with it. Another thing is about the issue of the women solidarity. When you saw most of the prominent women in the country began to mobilize, and I think they started mobilizing for Kehleboe Gongloe were also based on the statement that was being made by Koga at the time. Oh, women shouldn't do this, women shouldn't do that, the traditional issues. You have, today it's completely different. Women are playing very key roles across Africa. You now have a very powerful lady from Namibia who is the president, not just about a woman being president, but the kind of tough decisions that she's taking that has never been taken in the history of the country. Where in fact this woman has gone ahead and taken the entire extractive industry and placed it under the presidency. This lady is even right now making sure that the whole system of where people just wake up from the West, they can just enter the country, and then for people to leave their own country to go to the West, you have to be screened. Out of 100 people that go for visa, so that only 5% get the visa on a day. This woman is not initiating new plans that the same way, the reciprocity we talk about, the same way is stringent to get visa to come to you, you also need to start applying for visa. So women are taking major decisions in leadership. Look at the other lady you have from Tanzania, for example. All right. So all these people are playing prominent role. And if you now take a public play, a medium, a place where we had the first African female president and begin to think that you can denigrate women, I thought that the women also would have ganged up. So there were a lot of interplays. But then you have a terrain that has, for the time being, women have been in the back. Women have been taking the back seat in Nima, for example. You know, you check the leadership of the county. I think right now you don't have any other woman except for the superintendent, but the entire legislative caucus, they are all men in the caucus. So it tells you women have not been able to thrive in that terrain. It will take some time. It will take some time, and I'm very impressed about the level of momentum that Kehleboe Gongloe was able to pull in that process. I think she has some huge prospect in Nima. From all indications, she's going to be the real stumbling block for the vice president. He has to watch out for this lady. This lady is a shining star for Nima. I think she's going to pull the trigger. It's not about, you know, some people think that sometimes, oh, you always in the election, you always losing. Every election has its own momentum. And I think there's going to come a time where Kehleboe is going to pull the trigger. I'm very optimistic about that. I can see it, I can feel it, and I know she's one of the major shining stars of Nima, and she's going to pull the trigger.
Great. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of The Closing Argument. Mr. Torgbean, our disclaimer here, I consider him a younger brother, a young man that I actually admire, brilliant. The past election, I didn't endorse him because I have already Matthew Joe have flown over here to Florida to meet with me and asked that I endorse him, and he wanted to work with us, so I endorsed him. Never endorsed Toga, but I have always sent him compliment that when we are going to bequeath our leadership, the county, the country, he's one of those folks that we also look at, that you will not be embarrassed unless he comes from abroad and he gets to the airport and his whole CPU goes blank again. Myean, let me start with you on this one. If anybody curses Joseph Boakai, I will curse their ma. This is the former lawmaker from Birmingham. What is going on in that country? Myean, you are a baby compared to what we are talking here. What does this say about your generation? People you supposed to look at to, people who supposed to be your mentors and people who are lawmakers. When people elect you, they give you state power. That's a lot. But this man saying he will cause people mad if you mess with Joseph Boakai. How are the people taking it? Thank you, Toga, for sending me the letter here. I'm going to read out the letter, but go ahead. and what's going on the ground, what people are saying.
So for that statement, we will firstly look at it as for my own point of view as a young person coming up. Firstly, we'll condemn that statement because nowadays we see most of our government officials, they are protecting their jobs, because if you were appointed or if you were given a little job to do, if you are not in favor of that person, of that government, you are not going to remain in that position. So nowadays we see so many government officials, senior government officials, junior government officials, they are on social media posting. The one of the posts that I really felt bad about was the post from Mo Ali about the Supreme Court ruling. And I thought to myself, was, are you a young man, because you have been given a job to do, and you are not looking in the interest of the Liberian people, but rather in the interest of certain group of people, in the interest of yourself, just to maintain that job that you are having. So for that statement, that former government official, I'm hearing report that he has been appointed, but it's not yet confirmed. So it seems to be like he's protecting his job because he was just appointed, but it has not yet been confirmed. So we hope to confirm that information. So for our generation, you cannot have your children coming out. Then there is an issue. Then your child or your children comes to you, ask you for advice. Let's say for instance, or your son is in a class and there is an issue within that class. Your son comes to you for advice, trying to give them that advice, or he or she that advice. Then you giving them wrong advice. I think it will not be necessary. Call the person, ask the person what's going on from there, and be able to get views and be able to summarize it and give them that good advice. Or rather, giving them anything that you feel like that is satisfactory to you, that you think it will be okay to you, that is not okay to others, I think it is wrong. So for that statement, we condemn that, and we think that former government official can go back in a closet and be able to see that statement and come out with another one. But I think it's wrong for the Liberian people, and the massive are not in favor of it.
Great. Mr. Biere, this is the letter here. Thank you for forwarding the letter to me. Full credit here. It says here, Honorable Sando D. Johnson, former Senator of Bomi County, Monrovia, Liberia. Dear Honorable Johnson, I am pleased to inform you of your appointment as legislative liaison of the President to the Liberian Senate. We trust that you will demonstrate utmost integrity, dedication, and commitment, and continue loyalty to the country in the discharge of your duty. Kind regards, sincerely, Joseph M. Boykai. What caught my attention, Mr. Biere, is discharge your duty with integrity.
that discharge your duty with cussing.
Yeah. We are talking about, you are a liaison, right, between the president and the Senate. That is a significant position because you are representing, you're the water boy, you carry letter back and forth, you carry, news here and there. But the fact that you represent the president, and you have not even started a job, and you put people on notice. If you say anything about my boss, I'm going to curse your mom. I mean, where, is it a war? Is it a war or what? What got us to this point?
It is very pathetic. Very, very pathetic. I mean, the first and foremost thing is we do not have, I think one of Liberia's problems, we don't even have a middle class, I would say. You have the high up there and you have the very low. You practically don't have a middle class. Once the man leaves the legislature, or once the man leaves a powerful portfolio, within 1-2 years, the man becomes nothing. We do not, and the same thing you've been saying, that look, people come to all of the best schools around the world. When they learn about RIA, everything about what they've seen and what they've learned changes right away. It's a big issue for the country. And sometimes I wonder why. It's almost like Somebody can say, if you can't beat them, just join them. It's almost like if you came with a different mindset and the rest of the country not changing the mindset, it seems like everybody just seems to join them. Because I don't understand why a very poor country that has limited money to even run its own budget, where you say, and most international organizations leaving or already left the country, that will still be thinking about having legislative liaison for the president to Senate, and maybe very soon the president will have legislative liaison for the House of Representatives. Because if you can have legislative liaison for Senate, then you come in to have legislative liaison again for House of Representatives. There are two positions you just created. This is a poor, broke country, and you're still creating jobs. You even say legislative liaison for the legislature. You are having one for the Senate and one for the House of Representatives. That money, you have to have budget for him. Everything, probably an office to run, probably a vehicle. He might be running maybe a budget of probably 100 to 150,000 for a fiscal year. When you look at his salary, everything, you know what that money could do? A lot more. A lot more. But because we don't have a system in place that is able to even cater to people who served before, everybody has to worship the system. That's why when you even stand up, like even our generation, to just stand up with courage as somebody of this generation is even difficult. Because people are not used to people standing up for anything in the country. People are used to people who are worshiping the government in power, the government of the day, that the only means of survival. It means like if people like Sando Johnson, a distinguished man who served the legislature, if he can't out to say, I will call somebody man, we're not getting job. That's how the country is. The whole idea of the man who wins takes all. That's why I'm beginning to like some of these systems, like I think South Africa has a system like that, where almost every political party goes to the legislature one way or the other. They're mostly parliamentary, but they have a system in place where, based on the percentage that you have if you went to the election, that's how you put people in the parliament. So that's why you see people like Julius Malema is always in parliament. He doesn't have to win the presidency, but if Julius Malema gets maybe around 10 to 15% of the votes, maybe he has to put 30% in the parliament or 45% in the parliament. That is enough. So he stays in the parliament, he becomes independent. That's why you see people like Julius Malema independent. I think we need to start thinking about this sort of system so people become independent. Because by this time, maybe CDC, out of a 75% legislature, CDC maybe will have 25 or 30 based on the number they want across the country. And they will be able to pick their own legislature. And then these lawmakers will also be accountable to their political parties. Like Sierra Leone, for example, you can go on at their capital and you misbehave there or you underperform there, and their party not tell you off. The party can tell you off of the parliament or the legislature. We don't have that system. We have to start thinking about better system. And if we don't put policy in place, look at, for example, our own Grand Bassa, where you and myself come from. I sat here the other day and I was even following how many people are even employed by the caregiving homes, the old folks home. Do you know the wife of George Weah built an old folk home in Basso that is still today in rooms? It's in complete butch somewhere along the how you call it, the your own route. Nobody lives there because no plan to cater to old folks in the country. Why is that happening? Because we also fail to plan as a country. Why should men like Sando Johnson be sitting down and wait for benefits? When will he get a benefit? They hire a former lawmaker mix in the country that I think they put in the budget for them that 500 US. That make it survive on $500. But the system that is in place is such that, look, you in government or you working in a private sector, you put your money into NASCAR scheme. When you get to a certain age, NASCAR begins to take care of you. If you can't take care of yourself again, you go to the old folk home. The old folk home got people who are employed. The only thing like people know about old folk home, that old man, that the people who can clean man. Now all we know about old folk, but you don't know that it creates job for security. It creates job for caterers. It creates job for watchers. It creates job for several other things. Even people who doing training for gyms and things, all those things. So if you just rent one old folk home and NASCAR was giving the people the right benefit for those old folks, you know how many people will get job in an economy. That old folk home in Basel able to employ up to 100 people.
That's correct, because they're running 4 shifts.
Of course. But you don't have it. So why should one man say that and say, I've been here all along and say our opposition to Bwaka are dying now? Some of us, look at our ages. We've been radicals for all along. No system in place for the radicals to survive. So at the end of the day, what do? Everybody will begin to worship one group of system just to remain alive. I speak to one of my big brothers, just before you can, I speak to one of my big brothers all the time. And the guy says to me, he said, "Better, you even know." He said, when you start aging, especially around Africa, and no illnesses are coming around your 50, your 60, you can't think about being opposition anymore. And we laugh about it, but he's very real. You know, I listen to, look at the chairperson of the National Patriotic Party, the NPP. The chairperson, George Sylvester Pewee. I listen to the guy. The NPP should be an opposition political party. But the chairperson was on air the other day saying, Jeremiah Kuhn, I know he's a light of this generation. He's a light of the region we're from. We got to protect that. That man say he's opposition. He's opposition chairperson of the NPP, but he said we got to protect Jeremiah because he's Jeremiah from our side. Poverty. No system in place to take care of people when they have age or when they're old. So at the end of the day, we should expect this. And in the next 1 to 2 years, expect more of the people, the prominent names you've been hearing in society that you're not been hearing, making similar statements like Lysandro Johnson had made. They will say they will cost people for Bwaka. Because when Bwaka get the money in the country, when the United Party people get money now in the country. So we expect people to cost people for, they got to cost people for the United Party people to survive. Because the country lacks system. It lacks a way for you and myself to survive within there. But you think, if it was an economy like America, my young picking in America, his ceiling is around 100 to 150 G. $1,000. That man needs to go work in government? For what? The cleaner in these societies we are makes around $3,000 to $5,000 to $4,000 a month. A cleaner here. And you say that man will be, that man, you and the man can go drink coffee and the man is able to criticize his prime minister or his president without fear in the public. And you would think why, but it's a place where the economy, everything running. But the man will tell you that something not right and we got to tell the man or stay. You say, but come to my country where nothing runs and we still say we will keep the people. Go ahead.
Myean, before we go to our main topic here, let's talk about the Honorable Smith is appealing to the Liberian president to fire or dismiss Garguah and the justice minister for misleading him in the wake of the first ruling of the Supreme Court. He is saying there is no way, especially the finance minister that was an architect of the law, to go out there and lie, according to him, that it was such an urgency that they had to pass the budget either way, knowing that at least at that time, 1/12 of the previous year budget can be set aside to run the government until they can get on their feet. But he made it sound that if Joseph Boyka did not force the folks to pass the budget, by hook or by crook, the country will collapse. So he is saying, he being on the same level as Mr. Finance Minister, who knows exactly how these things work, he thinks he had done a disservice to the president, and the president is getting a backlash and black eye. So he thinks that these two people should go. What you're saying, what you think people are saying?
So for the justice minister, we also got a release today, just this evening, where he made a statement about those who were in the streets today about the president from Burkina Faso. And we look at the justice minister and other government officials, like most of whom are not legal persons, and they are putting themselves into this Supreme Court ruling. as if to say they are the chief justice or they are justice minister. Because with this issue, you cannot come out with a statement, then the finance minister or we see the justice minister going after you, which of course is wrong. Every library, it is your right to come up with a statement from the Supreme Court ruling, but not to go after someone with their point of view. Because since the Supreme Court ruling, we've been seeing so many statements from people, so many statements from many Liberians who have so many views on this Supreme Court issue. So I think it was wrong, and the finance minister is not his duty. He's not or justice minister or neither someone from the legal background to come up with that statement on Senator Eddie Snow. So I think it is wrong, and we as a Liberian, we have to be for our people, not to go for personal gain.
Mr. Toga, it says here, Mr. Pierre, the former budget analyst at the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning, Mr. Wilmer F. Smith, had called on the President Joseph Boakai, to suspend or dismiss Finance Minister Garguah and Justice Minister Oswald Tuer for what he described as their deliberate misguidance during the country's recent budget crisis. This is a man who says he's talking strictly professional. This is what should happen. Tell the president, like you just said, tell the president what needs to be told. Tell him the right thing. He may respect you even more if you went to him and say, Papi, listen, this one here, it will make you look bad. Not only here, but on the international level. Don't allow this, but instead, they double down and told this man to do all he can by hook or by crook to get his budget passed, and now having this. So this is a highly professional person, and this is his view.
But I think, look, sometimes when people say to me the president is being misled, I get to wonder, didn't we during the campaign say that experience comes with age? Didn't we say that this man has, for 40 years of his life, he been in government, he knew every hidden hole in the government? How can somebody who came to government just around 2005 or 6 mislead the president? Or a budget analyst in the Ministry of Finance mislead the president? No. I think the president knows what he's doing. And if there was anything illegal about the budget, because even before the fracas on Capitol Hill, there was something that even illegally happened. I remember the president sent a budget proposal to the legislature immediately he took office, that they needed some very hasty money to procure some things and to take care of some government expenditure. And in that, it was my understanding that there were some kickbacks and people received money and it was passed hurriedly. It was during that same period that we got the information about how some vehicles were taking, over 500,000 or so was taken from NASCAR to procure some vehicles for the inauguration and all of that. So it's not new about the budgetary period. That the whole budget, you listen to Kofa, Speaker Kofa, talking about the whole issue about how people go to a particular room to Boulevard Palace, I know 1026 or so, where they go to quote unquote finger the budget, and people call ministers and ministries and agencies and inform them, look, you got 1 million in the budget, we'll make it 3 million for you. Check it or something on the water. The budgetary period have been the consistent place for corruption, because the country technically does not have a private sector. So everybody runs to that same budget period to survive. Everybody wants to be chairman on Ways, Means, and Finance of the legislature. It's highly a contestable job as compared to even speakership. That's why you see many people. I think the only person that was able to bridge that a little was Kofa, that came from chairman on judiciary. But most of the time, to become speaker, you have to come. Ellis Tyler came from Ways, Means, and Finance. Emmanuel Nuko came from Westminster Finance. Today, Tifa comes from Westminster Finance. That's why Tifa even won more votes as compared to Kofa. I think Kofa won 37 or so votes. Tifa won 40 some votes. Because the chairman on Westminster Finance at the legislature is overly powerful. Because of all of the different budgetary manipulations that can take place. It's a whole cartel that is built. It's difficult for people not to clamor around that position. It's a very powerful portfolio. So yeah, for me, for people to be blaming low-level staff of a government and think that they are the ones misleading the president, no. The president knows what he's doing. He has served that country for over 40 years. Nobody needs to lecture Braka about governance. This man said by this time, he was going to make sure all roads in the country were going to be open, because roads was his first agenda in the last election, before this one. That one, he never had all the what we have today, how you call it today, what they got. But those days, I think the 2017 election was roads. The man said everything in the country could happen when you get roads. Today, I still see us fixing the same roads. And I wonder whether the country will go anywhere. There's a big difference between developed countries and developing countries. I was saying to somebody the other day, you come to a developed country, and today you use a road to go to a particular destination. Tomorrow, when you're coming by, they are facing a detour to that same road to face a new road. That developed country there. Every day, the developed country is developing. But you go to the developing countries that you think should be developing, but they remain the same.
But Mr. Biere, do you think we have reached a level of developing country? Liberia, you think we have reached
I don't even think so. The other day I went somewhere that I've been going for the last 3 months, and I practically lost in the same country. Because everything that was in the middle of the road has been changed, the road rebranded, and over here, I said, what? This is developed country. The people stay every day. I was telling somebody the other day. In fact, the former public works minister, I had a conversation with once when they were doing everything to open the red light road. And I said to them, I said, look, I don't think putting a 4-lane to red light will change the situation at red light. I said, place like red light, you practically need an overhead bridge. Because you put 4-lane, the people will still crumble right there. There's a place in Ghana when you go into the camp, the Bujumbura camp. I think they call it the La Paz Bridge or some kind of bridge over there. Beneath that place, there's a whole market. What the government did, because they knew that road would be very busy, they kept the market on there, but they built the overhead over the market. That's why you need for a place like Red Light. That's why you need for a place like Douala. That's what you need. You say you want to open 4-lane road to Douala? Is that going to change the situation in Douala? Like, it has not changed the situation in Red Light, because nobody thinking. Go right to Abidjan. Because of the African Cup of Nations, just before the African Cup of Nations, I was in Abidjan. And you got more than 50 overhead bridges in Abidjan alone. Right by us. Because there is no reason to compare Liberia with developed. Compare them with the same standard of people in their block. And you feel embarrassed. Why are you in Abidjan? You see bridges just passing over each other all over the place. In fact, I was doing a work in the port of Abidjan for like 2 weeks. And they were already building an overhead bridge straight into the port, because the people know the port is very busy. And so because the port is busy, you can't even take a private taxi into the port. So you can't even enter. To enter the port, you got to walk almost 20-30 minutes walking into the port in the mud. So they started building overhead. There's a train that can also enter the port. The train that enters from the port outside the city, because the people know goods and services come through the port and they got to get out. And the trucks that are lined along the route, you can't sort it out. There is no way you will be able to put a truck out of the port easily for you to come out a whole day. So the people have put in new systems of transportation to help to ease these situations. Come on, Liberia.
Listen.
It is possible.
It is.
It is possible.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are talking to the great veteran, Mr. Alexander Pewee. If you just joined the show, welcome to another edition, brand new Thursday edition of The Closing Argument. Please share the show, make your comment. We're going to read a comment. Thank you very much. There's a lot of comments coming. We'll read some. Mr. Pewee talked about our middle class. So we're going to go back to our topic here and do it backward. And I will have our young journalist here give a little take. Then I go back to the veteran here. Ahmed, whenever you are ready, just jump in here. We'll go to number 3 first. Number 3, the Commerce Minister, Magdalene Dagoset, described a strong private sector as the backbone of the Liberian economy. You see the reason that I usually get upset with Liberian people, and when they talk about a degree, I don't want to listen to any degrees, because when you have a degree with no corresponding experience to say this, you say you are the commerce minister, you say the private sector is the backbone, but you said nothing about how you're going to make that backbone work. You are not saying, as a commerce minister, this is what we're going to do. This is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to expand. This is how we're going to create jobs. Because when people are working to pay taxes, they send their children to school, the economy grows. This is how you create jobs. It's not just reading text, paper. Myean, you're a young man, you need a job, you go into school, you will soon be graduating. What is your prospect for you to get a job if you did not want to work with Truth FM anymore? What is the possibility of you graduating and getting a job without going to your...
Let me tell you something before Myean can in. I got a friend of mine who lived in Liberia all their life. All they live in Liberia. And they never had a job. That person left Liberia 2 months ago, and the person already got a job in America. All the time in Liberia, they could not find job easily to do. 2 months in America, they get work there to do already. Why is it that way? What's wrong with the country that you can easily find job there? Because the city, no private sector. When company like Metal Steel announces 250 jobs have been created, I just laugh. And people get excited that Metal Steel, a multi-billion-dollar company, comes out to say, we just employ 250 Liberians. Why you got 250 Liberians? A country of 5.5 million people. And you say you employ 250 and you make a big headline. All the newspapers in the country carry it. In fact, to the point where when Metal Steel just gave, let's say, plantation manager job, like they get a plain plantation manager job, when they give it, they can publicize you so that the people can say, so your village people can find you, that you just got picture. But when they get a white man CEO, they don't make that big announcement. But when you get Liberian man, you say he's the plant manager for a division in a company, it can be big hella. Have you not been noticing the company?
Yeah, but Mr. Toga, we are Liberians are people who are entitled. Listen, the people know, even if you don't pay the Liberian man, right? Gave him a desk, gave him an office, with his name on it, and then you call him a presidential liaison to the Senate.
And that mindset we got, what we think in the white people country, the white people don't work. We think that the black people can do the bad work. That's a lie.
Absolutely not.
I mean, I know where the Liberian take the mindset from, that they think that the black people doing the job yet. No. You come here, you see white people. The man sit down on a bicycle that can charge. That is chargeable bicycle, the man on it, and the man dropping food on campus. That white man. On the campus, you see the white man facing the flower pot. That white man. The same bathroom on the campus that you see the same white man cleaning it. Not different people. But the people don't care, like you say, for office job. It doesn't matter to the man. What matters to the man is that when he get home, he's able to buy groceries for his home. He's able to have a car to ride. They have a system in place. That's why important to the women. That thing we can be on where we think that the only job we want in the country. That office job, we must get caught through the time of be on. No, it doesn't work like that. In fact, the real people that run an economy, that are ordinary people that run the real economy.
That's correct.
Are the real people. And if you're a commerce minister, our own Basel sister, for example, like you were saying, you have to create the enabling environment first. You can get a country where predominantly labor needs set over. They import all the rest in the country. You can easily, you can hardly see a Liberian in the market with them. And you think that Liberia will get the opportunity. Never. Never. If you start putting in a system that says, look, certain products in our country, we cannot keep getting it from outside. That's one of the ways to start creating opportunities. How in the world our country will still be bringing in pepper? Will still be bringing in chicken soup from outside? Liberia. How in the world we still practically get everything for us? Why can't we start empowering our people to produce certain things on the ground? You know what it means if even the eggs we eat were all being produced in Liberia? Do you know how many cars of eggs Metal Steel alone can buy for the company's canteen in a month? Do you know what it means if we are taking that product from the hands of foreigners? We produce many Liberian millionaires. Do you know what it means? Onions. If we started producing onions on the ground and we start empowering Liberians to produce onions, do you know how many Liberian millionaires we can create?
But
we don't do that. And we think that
it
will just, it just like match in the morning, Liberian will just start getting the money in the economy and everything. It doesn't work like that. The people put aside certain products and makes all Trump problem in creating in America. That one of the things he's trying to do is trying to create a system so that Americans can, America for agenda. That's what they made home. He's trying to create a system so the money can sit down among them, so it doesn't get outside. So the American people, so the farmers can make money. So things that are produced in your country, biscuits, we can produce it in the country. Simple things. We're not able to do it in the country. The other day I was telling somebody, if you get a company like Seti Brothers producing nails, producing zinc and things, why should Seti Brothers get only one company that's sitting down in Monrovia producing that? Why don't you tell Seti Brothers, let's decentralize this company and we can give you some tax breaks? For example, why don't you open a branch in Buchanan that will help Buchanan, Sino, Riverside, and that part of the country? Why don't you put a branch in Grand Gita, for example, that will help Grand Gita, River G, Maryland? You know what I'm talking about. You know what's going to happen? It will create jobs. But he says, Seti Brother, open a company only in Montreal. How does Seti Brother product get to Nima? There's only one driver sitting down in a car, one car ball, carrying the product from Montreal all the way to the soil. You have not created any joy in the soil, brother. Nothing. So the people in the soil will still be poor.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. Myean, you are getting ready to graduate from school. We're talking about the Minister of Commerce. It is their prerogative to create jobs, to make someone, young man like you, who is graduating from college, to actually look forward to getting into the workforce, to be able to support your family. We're going to have a young family. You're going to have a home. You're going to have a car. You're going to have a baby. All of these things. What is the prospect for you, my friend, to get a job in this, what the Commerce Minister is talking about?
So for the Commerce Minister, we look at her to be someone who's she's staying away from the media. Whatever she does is not coming out, because she's that kind of person who is not implementing what she needs to do. Because firstly, we look at people like this, they only have the degrees, but they are not implementing what they need to do. Because you cannot say you are a Commerce Minister to protect the economic, to protect economic growth. You are not coming out with any data analysis If you look at the current data analysis we did about those local businesses in Liberia, if you check the Commerce Ministry, if you check that database, you will not find anything, because the Commerce Ministry, they are not putting people into the field to know what happening. There are some places, there are some stores you go to, you see biscuits, you see so many foods, so many things. They are being stored in there and getting expired, and people are still selling it out to the people. And which of course we look at it to be wrong. And the Liberian people, they are seeing these things to be something like they are affecting them, because you cannot say you are a commerce ministry or you are a minister for that agency, and there are things coming into the country, you are not taking listing of it, you are not taking certain percentage of it. Things that come into the country on newly, and with a tune of eye, you just see it all over the country and people are buying it. You are not doing assessment of it, how is it, like whether the people need it or not, but rather you just bring it in because you see certain amount of it that you need, are you getting percentage from it, you just bring it into the country. And the young people are not being able to get job, because the commerce ministry is there to provide a smooth environment, like a job environment for the young people, where you can see after high school you'll be able to get something that you'll be doing for your family, that you'll be able to sustain yourself at the same time going to university. You cannot find anything. Well, if you see the ministry is now organizing a conference or business conference, where you see people leaving from different places coming to have a conference teaching them so many things. We are not seeing these things in our country, and we look at that to be something like the country is going back, and the commerce ministry need to wake up, because Madam Dakoze is not doing her work. From our point of view, she's not doing what she's supposed to do, because the local businesses, the people are really suffering. If you go down to the massive, if you go down to the poor people, if you hear that voice, you will know that things are not really okay from them. And you are there to bring in investors, you are there to bring in trade, that people will be able to do business smoothly in the country. But these things are not going on, and the standard of the business within Liberia, you cannot see anything like up to that standard, because anyone can just wake up one morning, you get like 30,000 United States dollars, you say you want to open your business, you did not register, you did not go through any procedure, just open a business, and which of course it is wrong, and we need to work on that as a country.
Wow. Mr. Pierre, let's talk so and talk so.
Mhm.
I have about maybe 10 to 15 people working on my farm in Bassa. The last time I was sending the budget for them to be paid, and they told me that they had run out of salt and pepper, and they were going to Buchanan to buy pepper and rice. Can you imagine in the village where the soil is so fertile, where basically anything you drop unattended, in few days it grows. My employees are telling me they want to go to Buchanan to buy pepper, to buy rice. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying, what is this about us? Then they are complaining the Chinese are selling rice, the Chinese are selling pepper, the Chinese selling this, the Chinese selling rock, the Chinese selling sand. So I'm asking them, who are they selling these things to? They're selling to Liberians. Why are you buying it? Why you are not digging the sand? Why are you not planting the pepper? You're waiting for pepper to come from Guinea. Why? Why are you blaming the Fula people for coming here and taking over everything, and you're sitting there? So let's talk so and talk so.
I agree with you. I agree with you.
Laziness that we take from the village, that's what the woman is using over there at the ministry. Absolutely laziness.
I will also think, you see.
So Mr. Gamer, we are switching, so we'll just go for a short break, and you can continue. Yeah, we'll switch and come back.
Go ahead. We know you.
You know, one of the issue has to do with having a market. Another thing has to do with even having a beginning capital. If the government must create some of these avenues. If, for example, someone had a farm and they are growing only pepper, if the government begins to create an avenue that the pepper sells, then that person gets encouraged to want to do more sales or more planting. So government also plays a role in creating an avenue for this.
Absolutely.
If there is competition, because the men cannot compete with certain people, like you can't get an ordinary Liberian growing a rice on the market competing with maybe a Lebanese who is putting millions into that same business. The competition becomes tense. There was something before about products that were exclusively set aside. It was under this whole Liberianization policy. Products set exclusively aside for Liberians. And unfortunately, the foreigners were also mixed in our sector again. Foreigners are still selling ice cream. Foreigners still run barbing shop and beauty salon. They still do the same businesses that are supposed to be exclusively for Liberian to do. And this is where, because we're not creating a system where we can encourage farmers to want to do these things. I was telling somebody, if, for example, if the president of a country started displaying eating of our local rice, growing of our local rice, and making Liberians get used to our local rice, why do you think in places like Ghana, for example, rice is very expensive? And you know why they do that? They expect foreign rice. Because they want people to get used to the local brands, the local products. So to buy a foreign rice that is brought to Nigeria, Ghana, for example, you buy it very expensive as compared to buying local things. So now you see people eating more yam. You see maybe people eating more cassava. You see people eating more plantain. So their local food, they make the public to get used to it. And so that encourages the farmer to grow most of those local products. We don't make our people used to it. I used to come from on the route from Basel, for example, Sunday, and maybe I'll buy cassava and tea there. And even my kids in the house would not want even eat the cassava. They're not used to it. We wake up every day under the foreign thing. The spaghetti that is made in one foreign country, the rest from India. You bring even the country where you bring it in your own home, your people in your home, I won't eat it. Because we grow up in a system that seem not to like our own thing. Look at we today, you go to some restaurants in Liberia now, a lot of people now eating buckwheat. But buckwheat mostly eaten by people in East Africa. Grown there, the maize. When it came during the war, we say buckwheat are bad food. Today, the big shots in Liberia, they go to restaurant and buckwheat they eat because they say it's not starchy. But do you know our country rice is not starchy as well? So why don't we make our farmers to begin growing more of our country rice so we start liking it and start eating it more, and then the farmers get encouraged that, oh, every time I carry my late 20 bag or country rice on the market, all can go. It means tomorrow I won't carry 30. Another day I won't carry 100 bag. But if it takes me 1 month before I can sell 20 bags of country rice, but it takes the man 2 days to sell the Indian parboiled rice, 20 bags. Why should I keep being in a farm in Liberia and say I want to grow country rice? It's not marketable. Somebody must make these things marketable for the people to like it, for the people to start making money in the economy. The things are not marketable at all.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got Torgbean here. I guess when he gets back to Liberia, we got to do a training. We got to do, we used to have a little show in Buchanan. I know they say changing minds, changing attitude.
Right.
It happens that whoever the brand of that message wanted to be a bad messenger. But it was something that we should have done nationally. That our mindset, like you say, whatever that is learned, it is highly likely that we can unlearn. So the bad habits that you can't wear your vice shirt, or some people tell you you can't wear it here You have to wear a suit and tie. You got to be Westing. When you eat, you got to do. I mean, all of these things that come from the West, we idolize, and everything else that we have down there, we demonize.
You talking suit and tie, baby. And seriously, that the thing that we can spend too much money on cheap.
That's right. I mean,
we spend
and it is so sad, like you say, there's self-hate. Okay? Self-hate. That you do not like anything that has to do with yourself, including your own food.
Your own food, yeah.
Your food that you grow, your own country rice. First of all, I don't know why we call it country rice, because when you put a country there, now it denotes the connotation is terrible.
Locally grown rice, maybe.
Yeah, you don't want to say locally grown rice. So that is a public awareness campaign that we have to go to reverse when someone. I mean, the negative tone attached to the rice. It's a country rice. I mean, it's from because I know when we were growing up, we didn't have the technology, so when they say country rice, it was associated with rock being in the food. When you chew it, you know, it tastes terrible. It was painful eating it. But times have changed. When I go home, you talk about the burger wheat. My doctor, that's why he prescribed. Do not eat the white rice. It's not good. You eat a burger wheat.
It's starchy. It got sugar.
That's correct. So if you in a society like Liberia where people don't have the medical facility, those are things that you
and people don't know, Mr. Gimme, that some of the things are even killing people in the country.
Of course,
you eating too much sugary food, too much of that Indian bread, that just sugar.
It dissolves into your body real fast.
And our locally grown rice got everything, and we can abandon it.
Well, Mr. Toga, let's go to number 2 here. The Labor Minister, Copper Cross, says efforts are on the way to harmonize the Decent Work Act and the Civil Service Standing Order to have one law governing the entire labor sector. This is his thinking. Okay, you are talking about laws. You are talking about putting in mechanism, labor. You just talk about the Lebanese, the relationship between the Lebanese and our Liberian folks. I was in Buchanan in January and I visited one local hotel run by a Lebanese guy. And I came maybe 2 o'clock. I needed something and I went downstairs and saw something that I've never seen before. The young women, they were about 5. They were lying down on the floor in the kitchen. And the guy locked the door. And I asked him why. He says, loss prevention. Basically, he said, you want nobody to steal his stuff. So I asked him what happened if there was a fire in the building.
Exactly.
And the women are lying on the bare floor. When do they go home to their families? So when we left, I spoke back to the woman. I said, why you guys allowed this to happen? And she says, then it changed. What can we say? There is no other option.
Nobody's protecting them.
There is no other option. So, Mr. Biere, if you were to talk to the labor minister, he's talking about coordinating, synchronizing, harmonizing, but he's not talking about the meat, which is the rights and the protection of the labor market, the labor force. Instead, he's talking about the paperwork. How do we harmonize? How do we coordinate? Without talking about the protection of our workers in the mines, metal, steel, lock in the rubber plantation, Firestone where the people are sleeping. We're hearing now that they are now beginning to put babies, children back to work. I mean, these are all terrible labor practices. I didn't hear anything. I'm talking about system.
The labor problem in the country, first of all, for me, it even starts with the same government. The government itself does not respect labor. How will the the companies, the private companies in the country also respect labor. How in a country you will be paying your civil servant $150 for a whole 31 days, and you think that money is enough to take care of their needs and their wants in the country, but then you think the company is supposed to treat your people better? I am talking about where I am, where you pay people between $3,000 to $4,000 for sweeper job, and you say a civil servant starting money that $150 in the country, and the government made big news about it. Made big news before the budgetary period that they were increasing civil servant to $150. That is shameful. At least for our economy, the least a civil servant should be earning should be $500 net, not even gross. Net. So we got to start with ourselves first. You can't be paying your civil servant $150 and you expect a Lebanese man to pay them $500 to do business in the country. If the government ceiling starts at 500 or Lebanese, before you operate in that country, you do the same. But take for example, there's another time. One time I was entering the country, and we transited through Accra, but then I saw a lot of Indians on board, and I was thinking first of all that they were stopping in Accra, but not knowing the guys were following also Morovia. I'm talking about over 100 Indians that came to the country. If you're not around RIA, sometimes you will never understand. I'm gonna let the way people say, if you don't go to the hospital, you'll never know how many people sick. Take some day off when you're in the country. Just stop by to RIA on the basic days and see the number of foreigners that are coming to take job in the country. You will be shocked. I traveled with over 100 Indians. I was told many of them were coming for a job at B Mountain because it's a Turkish company. Can you imagine? They gave these Indians very low level metal power. Even they cook in metal that Indian people. They cook. You and myself know we say the Bassa people that the Chico there in the country, the best cooks are the Bassa women. That's what we say?
That's all we know.
Why can't in our country the cooks are there that Indian people cooking in the canteen? It's sad. Many times when the people just getting the government job, they can't wait the morale. When the labor minister came, the morale, in fact, he said he was rejecting all of the labor agreements that they had with foreigners. It works again. The same situation we get, even at that commerce we're talking about, that position, they even took the other guy from recently. Thank God they took him from the job set. And he owned our different fraud that took him from there. But he even has not been working. Because we're supposed to even be checking products that are coming to the country. Which one of them expire? That labor inspector was not doing anything. Some of the things are killing people in the country. You bring frozen tea, they eat a plate for 1 year. You just keep it on a high degree of pressure. In fact, somebody was telling me they say the formaldehyde they can use to the mortuary. They got something like that they can use on the frozen food there to keep them long.
That's correct.
And they say they put it on them. So people eating rotten chicken, everything in the country because the person, people just want off a job. Somebody who is an inspector for commerce should be on the field. It's a field work. You should come with your jeans on the same as inspectors at the Ministry of Labor. That other man who used to go on all the cars into Capitol Building, he now the Inspector General for Labor now. He can't go on nobody's car again. That proper job. You labor inspector in the morning, you wear costume, you can't sit down in one office. That's not inspector's job. The inspector's job is a field work. You sit there and a bunch of foreigners are coming to the country and taking jobs that Liberians can do to cook. You bringing people for aid. Clerks. Finance people, as though the people that graduated from the University of Liberia, UMU, Stella Maria, other places, they can't do financial work. You got to bring foreigners to do the financial work. Come on. What jobs are left for us? It is sad. Go Morovia, right between, I think, Benson and Kerry Street intersection. They get a barber shop that run strictly by foreigners. Barber shop? Where Simon Fremont had a DSTV office before, I think I way down Benson Street, right opposite it, another barber shop exclusively run by foreigners, Lebanese. This is unfair. Until then we say the Ghanaians are selfish. No. The people believe that the people, in fact, the new guy, Mahama, who just took over, he's revolutionizing that place. As a matter of fact, the same thing that just happened in Namibia, the guy has taken it. In fact, no foreigner runs the people extractive industry anymore. It's a new mandate in Ghana. You can't be a foreigner, then you're running the people all gas, gold sector. Come on.
But
we got everything.
He's a confidant of Joseph Boakai, so why is not rubbing off on Joseph Boakai?
Well, I mean, maybe Joseph Boakai got a 40 years experience. Maybe he needs to start tapping into the guy from that. In fact, the guy is the one even mentoring the boy from Burkina Faso. That guy, he, in the wake of all the trouble in Burkina Faso, he has flown there. He has spoken to the guy. He's bringing the guy back to ECOWAS, so the guy sees him as a mentor. So the same thing the boy is doing in Burkina Faso. In fact, the government in Burkina Faso has taken the entire engineering sector that's supposed to face road, bridges, and this, and they put it now under the presidency. So one article I read the other day, before the guy came to power, I think there were only 3,000 kilometers of road in the entire country. Right now, the guy is building 5,000 more kilometers of road in Burkina Faso. And this is a dictator. This is a man who was not democratically elected. Why is democracy failing us? I wonder sometimes the democracy that they gave all a load of something a bad thing. Because most of the people from the dictatorial tendency are doing far better. Why was Muammar Gaddafi doing far better in Libya? Why? You come to democratic state, they are all failures. Everybody do everything. And we got to start changing the system. Why you get a country, how will people now worship president? You get a country where the president one can hire everybody, including the Tanchi. The president that they see dictatorship, because we not say that dictatorship, that they see imperial presidency and imperial leadership with God. There is no reason why the president will employ the whole country. There must be other. Then they say, why some all like for us, young men like me, for example, why should I run for maybe representative? No. Like you in America, they get state legislators, mayors and things elected by the people at the local level, local positions elected. In Liberia, the only one you can get to elect are the representatives for the national level. So where you want to start from? Then you say, remember, go start from somewhere. Your mayor in your small city is appointed by president. Small city. You get no local level that elected, so everybody will go for the top level. But you don't need to do that in the US. You don't. You can start from the local level. Mayors are elected. State senators are elected. State representatives, small jobs at the local level, or governors are elected. But your
county commissioner are elected.
But Liberia, everything appointed by the president. So how the men will survive? You gotta go look for the top job that everybody do and say that one will all go for. But
or you call somebody man if you mess with the president.
Technically, if the country was that way, I mean, where small positions are elected positions, people will start from somewhere. But you get nowhere to start from in the country, you got to start from the top. So I encourage the Minister of Labor. He has a lot of work to do to help the country, to help Liberians get jobs, because it's so sad. People cannot even find as little as $100 a day in the country. We need small jobs created here and there in the country for people to be able to feed themselves. We always think that Liberians are lazy. No, it's not about the people just being lazy. When you create the enabling environment for Liberians to find job and work, why they see Liberians have never had job in Liberia, when they go to other countries, they can find job and they can start working. Why they don't go to other places and be lazy? Because if you start looking at your bills that you get to pay, You got to wake up to go to work because you get bills to pay. But Liberia, they may not get where to do so, they may steal the current. But if the government people, they want can start stealing the current. I was telling somebody the other day, we the ordinary people in the country, we can pay all the bills in the country more than the government official. I got to register my car. I got to get driver lesson. Now I heard they added fire extinguisher to it. Then you come back. Then you got to pay for current bill. All that thing you got to pay. Go to one of the bishops. The bishop not get driver lesson. His car plate, nobody can check it. He put government plate on it. He does not pay current bill. The most in debtor I mean to the LEC, not the government. Government owe LEC millions. But who can be running behind? The man that take the $50 per month that he not pay the bill, that man are the big criminal. Then you see Mary Brock and put be something on the person name, the person that rule. They will not go to the ministry and agency or the ministers then. They will say they're doing car registration, vehicle registration. They will be parking other people's car, the government car, they can car and park. But they get vehicle registration, they get nothing. What sort of country do we build that only the poor people pay the bills? The rich people pay nothing. I bet you today, you, Jerome, they put you in charge of LDC, you go from minister to minister, you'll be surprised that almost 90% of the ministers in the country don't pay bill. They pay people. They don't.
And if you made them to pay, they will fire you. They go to the president to fire you.
No, yeah, they'll intimidate you.
Mr. Myean, you are a young man. Let's look at your prospect, right? Your job. What protection do you have to fall on just in case your boss doesn't want you anymore? What law guarantees, or at least some safety net for you based on the labor law of Liberia?
So for that issue, the labor law in Liberia is like in favor of who that minister or that person wants to be in favor of, because we have raised series of issues like that where the road construction that is going on between the RIA highway, we have some Liberians who are working for Chinese. Just imagine. From the morning to the night you are working, each person is taking $5 United States every day.
$5.
$5, and within that $5, your medication, your feeding, everything is within that $5. Just imagine, and you are doing a hard labor work, and they only go for break one time. From the morning they go for break at 1:30. 1:30 when they go for break, before 2:30 they go back to work. So just imagine they were ill-treated, and they raised an issue that I went into that case and tried to handle that issue. We saw some labor inspector came in trying to intimidate us, how the labor minister know about the issue that is going on, the government know about the issue. So these Liberians, I mean, those who are working in that place, they are now going to complain, and they were making the work on it afraid, to the extent that if anyone of them come on the media, they are going to go after them. So if you seen a Liberians being treated like that within your own country, where foreigners are treating you like that, so how do you think that others will be able to come out to express themselves? Because you see, people are being maltreated so many places, but how can you express yourself? How can people know? Because you are being attacked personally, and you are being going after, because you see that people are working for companies. Just imagine, people are working for company, and the company, you see foreigner cashier, foreigner holding cashier position within that company. You see foreigner holding security position, and not most of our Liberians you see holding good position. They have the degrees, they have the knowledge, they have the experience, but they cannot hold that job. Why? We don't know. So you will see foreigner within that position, and at times you see people will go to the court, the lower court, where you expect justice, and you see something will come out that you'll not be expecting. At times you feel discouraged, and that's why people can say poor men can go to court, because if you go to court, you'll not get justice. That's the same thing in the labor law. So if you're having to be abused and trying to go to the labor ministry for justice, you will not get that justice because people who are within that terrain, they are just going for people who from another country, rather their own Liberians. You see people within the country, they only give the front view of that place to foreigner. You see Fuda people, you see Liberians, they are all in front of the area selling. But Liberians, for them to get job, it's very hard. Even you go really, they are going after the police officers, are going after our market women who are selling on the street. But people who you see sitting with market right on the road, foreigner, you're not seeing them going after them, but rather the poor people who are taking market from the fuller people coming on the road to sell. These are people who you see they will be going after. So people are not being able to get justice for labor in Liberia.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this edition of The Closing Argument. I have with me the veteran, my younger brother from Grand Bassa County. He and I, we argue most of the time, but I still recognize him as one of the brightest spots from our county. And someday you're going to see this man on the national stage. And he's going to embarrass a lot of you guys because you write the glossy paper. And I keep saying this. You go to the office and they got the manuals written by consultants that they have no idea about implementation. When you open the book, you go there, you say, do you have the logo? They have everything written by somebody. They keep it there when the investors come or when the foreigners come, when the USAID come, they will take the book and give it to you and say, we have policy on this, we got policy on that. As soon as USAID leave, soon they leave, that book goes right back into where it came from, and it goes right back to the Liberian stuff. Now, Mr. Bieda, there was something, we got the last one that we're going to be going to. We're going to be talking about the speakership, the personal resignation of the speaker, what's going on next process. We're talking about that, but something caught my attention, I think about a year ago, and I had to discuss this. They said there was a bar/restaurant, classic one that was opening in Monrovia, and it was owned by some Lebanese folks, and they mandated that for a Liberian or black woman, a Liberian woman to enter the restaurant, she had to be escorted by a male. But on the other hand, the women went and recorded women from the embassy, from the international community, from the different agencies are coming in and going and having fun time. And the Liberian women will be stopped, that they have to be escorted by a male. And thank God the Liberian women gathered and actually protested and they withdrew that policy. But what gave a foreign person that audacity to tell a Liberian citizen in her own country, you are not allowed here until, I guess, our Sharia law says you have to be escorted by a male. Mr. Bieda, some of these rules, some of these laws, what got these people to be so emboldened? I know the answer. I know the answer, but just like the Chinese man used to say, he was the real, how do you call it? The real minister. The real minister. He called himself the real minister. He calls the shot. Mr. Bieda, what in our country is going on that someone is going to tell our beautiful black women that you cannot come into our Lebanese club, whether you can afford it or not, until you abide by our law, Sharia law, you got to be escorted by the male. But then when the white people come from the different embassies and everything else, they let them go in.
We just still, we don't have some systems in place to make sure that some of these things don't happen. It all comes from the way people handle governance issues. Take, for example, like giving these casinos and things that people open, there should be some exclusive funding set aside, sometimes to the central bank or some places, to ensure that they properly regulate it. It's even my understanding that some of these casinos, they bring people from different places to also run, and just like the way we're talking about B Mountain or Metal Steel or all these companies, We probably think that sometimes it's just maybe the top companies, but there are some very low level companies, like even casino. I got folks in Liberia who work in the casino, and they will tell you that they bring staff from outside of the country to come and run certain sectors within the casino. So we basically need some system in place. Take for example, something that has been also bothering me is we have a guy who runs the police, the police director, Gregory, for example, Gregory Coleman. And it's my understanding, the same thing you and myself were just talking, that people go to all these Western schools, all the very developed countries, they go to school, that when they get home in the country, it's completely different. So Gregory went to Harvard. That's my understanding. The prestigious. What? Yes, it's my understanding. Gregory Coleman went to Harvard. So you expect when someone like Gregory Coleman comes back home for things to be completely different. I mean, you walk the Western countries, the modern countries, and first of all, there is no juju here or sasewu for them to say, John Brown, they rest our here, you story. They can't bring sasewu here. Their wish and the way they detect it, basically by cameras. But Gregory, you've been police director from Ellington to today, up to today. You still haven't realized that we need cameras in the streets, in the basic places. Here, almost every light pole you pass by, don't think because you see something laying on top of that light pole, you think that just joking thing over there. What's laying on top of that light pole is a camera.
That's correct.
In fact, a colleague of mine told me, he said, you don't even know that even if you're having a phone conversation or you're having a private conversation with somebody and you're walking the street, that camera has the capacity to pick up that message.
Absolutely.
That's what the guy told me. He said, but you know why they've not invited you before? I said, no. He said, because what you've been saying in the conversation you're having, not security nature. But I bet talk some sensitive security thing while you're walking. And you not see police picking you up on the street in the wet chimney. It is not magic that these people are performing. Gregory, you know it. It is easy to do. Take, for example, in Liberia, at my home in Liberia, the camera I use at my home in Liberia, it cost me $35 for one. All I needed to build with that camera was to put internet 24/7 at home, built on a solar. But you know what it does? Anywhere in the world, I'm able to monitor what happens in the home. Come on. We put millions of dollars in a budget, but we cannot afford a $35 CCTV camera to put over light posts. It's political will that is lacking in the country. It's not about money. It is simple. Imagine if you had cameras on Broad Street and a Zogo will pick up somebody's phone on Broad Street, and the next morning his face is on the police page, whether that Facebook, whether that TikTok, whether that Twitter, and that guy who stole somebody's phone, the way he stole it is being played. Imagine a key on the street the following day, having people run behind and say, let the road that stole the person phone yesterday.
That's right.
Imagine if that thing would not serve as a deterrent to somebody who wants to steal again. That's simple strategy that people can use here. Even the people buses you ride, they get camera in the bus. You ride the train, they get camera in the train. The campus that I live on, it's almost like you in Big Brother Naija. The people can say the Big Brother Naija show is where you got a camera on you 24/7. Maybe the only place they get a camera that in my room.
Bathroom.
Yes. Yep. But the whole camera is televised anywhere, to the point where the most sophisticated thing you can get iPhone here up to iPhone 16 or 17, whatever you get. It drop here, somebody will pick it up and say, somebody dropped the phone, please pick it up. Nobody will test your telephone. They will put it in your student chat room and say, please pick up your phone. You won't tell me Gregory Ben, how you call it, for 2 years going almost? And he does not believe that a CCTV camera, which I can easily get the way it can be done. You get LTA, you get GSM companies. You won't tell me you cannot put CCTV camera on the LEC light post so that the LEC light post will power it. First of all, so it's on current. Or you go right to China, and China now is producing CCTV cameras that are built with solar inbuilt.
Yep.
Inbuilt. So you don't have to use, say, LEC, not stable, so you won't use LEC. You can go to China and you can procure CCTV cameras that are built with solar now. And you can bring it and you can build it on the stretch of light post so nobody can reach them. And you can get different places across the country where people are monitoring it and watching what's happening and reviewing the tips.
That's
Great, man.
That's correct.
Great, man. These are simple things.
Absolutely. Mr. Torgbean is here and he's lecturing you guys. And we want to say this. Welcome to the closing argument. We got a lot, 30 minutes to go. We want to talk about the pressing issue in Liberia. Finally,
so before we talk about this issue, Chief Tomalin just sent me a video. He said we should play it from the former government official, that's former senator rather. So we have the video. Video is training all over, so we can just play for 30 seconds.
Yeah, you talking? This man gonna cost you.
That's all.
So can we play now?
Go ahead.
Yes.
Okay.
Everywhere I am setting, I'm standing. You abuse or on any platform you abuse worker, I'll go after President Boakai. I'll go after everyone that abuse them. The tolerance. No, there will not be no tolerance here. You what they do nothing, you know, you put your mop on it. They tell the quiet chicken. We will do the same. People will do the same thing to you. Because we have to stop that nonsense. You know the jumbo does an element jumbo, you cause it. Everywhere I am setting, I'm standing. You abuse or on any platform you abuse worker, I'll go after President Boakai. I'll go after everyone that abuse them. The tolerance. No, there will not be no tolerance here. You what they do nothing, you know, you put your mop on it. They tell the quiet chicken. We will do the same. People will do the same thing to you. Because we have to stop that nonsense. You know the jumbo does an element jumbo, you cause it. Everywhere I am setting, I'm standing. You abuse or on any platform you abuse worker, I'll go after President Boakai. I'll go after everyone that abuse them. The tolerance. No, there will not be no tolerance here.
So that's it. You just heard from yourself.
That's all.
Look,
the hustle on.
The hustle is real. For you to see a father and maybe your grandfather now, a former senator that spent 9 years in the Senate, from the great people of Bome. Look how the man look. Look at his appearance. He looks like somebody who is in dire strait. And he's saying wherever he stands, wherever he sits, he will go. I have no tolerance here. No tolerance. He is protecting.
I think the MPP is technically done from all indication. For me to hear Dazo speaking like that, and then I heard the chairman also praising the MPP is in serious trouble. They swept the MPP out of the hands of Madam Taylor, and the MPP is now, I think, what the guy called it before, it's a regime collaborator. The MPP is finished. I really hope that, because I was told people like Snow, they're coming on board to the MPP. I think they have to work on changing the MPP, because from all indications, the real actors of the MPP, Sandro Johnson, all these people, the MPP is now a regime collaborator. It's sad. The MPP is done.
Wow. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Let's go to the last piece here. Mr. Biela, we are talking about the possibility of bringing this saga to an amicable, respectable conclusion where the laws are not violated, where the Constitution stands, where we respect our Supreme Court. Based on that, we are seeing a lot of maneuvering. We're seeing a lot of wheeling and dealing. How can we solve this issue without us making, like Mr. Mo Ali said, if someone said what we are doing may have an impact on foreign investment, he said, let them stay away. We don't care. This is the kind of attitude that people who we said yesterday they went to school and just got a certificate or degree, okay, without the corresponding suave to be an administrator to manage. So how do we resolve the issue? I know Honorable Fonati Kofa has sent a letter, according to him, to a mediator, the former president, that he will resign. Koga still wants to be a Speaker of the House, and that's his right to do so. But he is not in the line of succession. If the Speaker resigns, the law says the Deputy Speaker presides for 60 days, and then the election is held. That is my route. Mr. Koga, you're doing well. Just get all your numbers ready to go. When the 60-day collapses, or not even lapses, but
Mr. Kun or Mr. Koga? Mr. Kun, I think.
Kun, excuse me, Mr. Kun. So they said up to 60 days. So Chief could call an election the same day, because that's up to me, between, that time.
So yes.
Yes. So your take on this, I know
this is where we've had some disagreements all along on this particular speakership issue. Because most of my lifetime, I started off on Capitol Hill. So I was a reporter on Capitol Hill for several years, working for Kings FM, Cloud TV, City FM, before I was elevated to manager. I worked on Capitol Hill, and I saw most of the drama from the snow days to many of the other speakers before I left and moved to headquarters. So I followed the way things have happened on Capitol Hill. And the snow episode, for example, the snow episode was even very critical, because at the time, Virginia, I think also, was in a city, and the guys have moved up to Unity Conference Center, and Kehleboe Murray and the rest of the team, and they have moved up to that side, and Snow and his block were still either on Capitol Hill, or they were to somewhere where you got the old executive mansion, also on Broad Street there. So you had a divided building. And one of my big brothers I also talk to all of the time, Rufus Nuvia, he will say to you, like, they still had almost like 18 or 20 people. Snow still had a solid team of between 18 to 20 people stay with him when he resigned as Speaker. There were several factors. First of all, one, we practically don't have a functional democracy. Most of our teams seem to be run by the executive. So Snow knew that he had lost the favor with the executive. That was one. Two, they said most of the time you come back to fight another day. Snow didn't want to lose everything. Lose speakership, then you also probably get expelled because you want to push it. So he looked at all those factors and he stepped aside. And when Snow stepped aside, Snow made Tyler. I remember I was at Unity Conference Center and Snow was sitting in his vehicle at Unity Conference Center. And he was texting his guys to vote for Ellis Tyler. Ellis Tyler at the time was not Ellis' choice. I think Ellis had either Ford or somebody, but Ellis Tyler was not the choice. Ellis Tyler began speak up before Ellis went to work around it to make sure that how you call the party, Liberia Action Party, came to join her because she wanted to have control of the legislature. Now, why am I saying this? From a very long point in time, I knew Kofa had lost the speakership. It was difficult to proceed without the majority because everybody seemed to be focused on Article 49, which they're very right about it. Article 49 calls for the number for removal directly. And that number for removal is constant. But there is a tricky article, and that tricky article is 33. Article 33 calls for the issue of majority. The majority can continue to do business. The quorum can continue to do business without, and you who have the minority can continue to sit as speaker, and you got to ensure that the other people come to work. Even when the speaker is active and he got a number, there's always, when you go to Capitol Hill, you will notice the speaker sometimes will send the, I think they got a name, the sergeant Myean, will send the sergeant Myean around from office to ensure that lawmaker come to work. So it's a normal practice that the presiding or the speaker will ensure that when they don't have a quorum, they will go around. But in this case, the guys who are in majority are determined for the next 1 or 2 years to keep the terrain hostage, and they're not going to do that. It becomes a problem. It becomes a problem. Now, my issue with the Supreme Court issue, for example, the Supreme Court issue, this Supreme Court knew very well that Kun was illegally made speaker or whatever, as they said it. Kun had a budget hearing. Kun passed the budget. The Supreme Court sent somebody to go and represent them at the budget hearing. All those decisions were made. The budget was passed. The Chief Justice and everybody got their money for not seeing a legal budget. I mean, the real pawn in the game of chess here are the Liberian people. Who are you using here? The Liberian people. You come out and you say you pass a verdict that says Kun is illegal, but you also took money, illegal money for the man. It's almost like you say somebody is a thief, but you've been doing business with the thief. That is my problem. Yes, I know the judiciary did a verdict, appreciate it very well, but the judiciary is also one of our problems.
We understand this. Let's go to the letter. Let's go to the letter that was written. It was confirmed by Mr. Kofa himself when he spoke to the nation that there were a lot of rumors going around, but he did admit and affirm that yes,
some conversations are ongoing. Yes,
that's correct. That he's consulting and all of this. So here we are now. So it is certain that it's going to happen soon. So what would be the procedure? How does Cone save face here? How does the Supreme Court save face? How does the outgoing speaker save face? And everything else in between. What do you think is going to happen? Put your political hat on. You're not a critic. You now, I'm appointing you with the power vested in me. As you are the King Solomon of Grand Bassa County. I brought you 3 babies to you. One baby with 3 parents, and they are saying they want this baby. How will you split the baby in half or in quarter without killing the baby? King Solomon, it's your chance. Go ahead and save the baby or kill this baby.
I mean, this is where I saw the problem. Sometimes, if Kofa has stepped aside early, when he still had almost 34 people with him, he was powerful. He was practically made a next speaker. Sometimes it's not just about you. You have to be very strategic in the game of politics. I told you just now about the Snow scenario. That when Snow resigned, he still had a number. That's how he made Tyler. Tyler was Ways, Means, and Finance person on Snow. So you technically would know that Snow, the one appointed Tyler as Ways, Means, and Finance chair. So for Snow to have made Tyler because Snow left with a strategic number that could still change the game for what he wanted. That's why when Tyler won, I think Snow became chair. I don't know on foreign affairs or something. But Snow was still powerful in the legislature. Because he was almost like he got one.
So
the challenge.
How do we?
The challenge, the current situation, the challenge
where do we go from, and how do you think
the challenge now? The challenge he has now is that his number has drifted so much that it technically makes him powerless.
We know
to
this.
negotiate. Yes,
but he still has the law on his side. He still has the
yes, he
on
got
his
the
side.
law on his side. But the number has drifted.
That's
so
correct.
the number cannot strengthen you. When you are around 30 to 34 or even 33 at the time, had he resigned at the time, he will make the next speaker. At that time,
okay. let's say he lost all power.
Now let's say
how
in the West case now, the guys have consolidated. The guys have consolidated. The thing has expanded to the point where, because of the stretch of the time, the guys have fully consolidated.
Yeah, but so what?
Now,
how
even the people who were with Kofa yesterday, most of the guys have already gone. Because the reason they have gone,
but the word he's using is how do we transition? That's what I'm asking you.
Like I'm saying, it's difficult now to change the game, because what the guys want is what they will get now, because your number has drifted. That is my thought.
How do we transition? King Solomon.
The only way to transition is for Kofa to resign.
We agree it's going to happen.
Okay. Most of the guys that he had on his team that were suspended, they have to take care of those guys. You can negotiate for them. Okay. They'll have to clear all of them out. They'll have to give them something,
Right.
Make sure they pay all their money back. They got that money. In fact, most of the money they can be kept in escrow account. It ain't going to nowhere. They keep all the money in one escrow account. It's a tactics to put them under control. That money there.
How do we transition? You have not reached. Talk to me, King Solomon. How do we make is that cool? How do we make cool speaker?
Now, but you're not going to change anything about Coon speakership. The only people who could change Coon speakership are those maybe 40 to 47 that they say they have. That number still has the majority to vote. Remember, I told you Kofa was elected by I think 37%. So anybody with 47% will still be who they want.
I have to push back on this. Mm-hmm. There has to be a legal procedure that makes him legal. As it stands, he's illegal. How do you make him legal? He has to go under the gavel of Thomas Fala, and if he got it 49 or 37, he becomes speaker.
But that is Thomas Fala made a man speaker. It was under the St. Thomas Fala gavel. That's why you see Thomas Fala held the gavel and swore the man.
Understand that was illegal. How does this guy become Myean? When you have time, come and chime in. But I'm asking it. You see how complex this thing is. Even the wisest man in the Holy Bible, I gave him the title of King Solomon, and King Solomon can't bring it. Myean, here you are, you on the ground, you got your ears to the ground, you got your boots to the ground, you're doing all this stuff. What are you hearing? What do you think would be the end result here? How this thing end? How do we transition from Kofa to whoever becomes the speaker?
So we still wait to see I send you the headline or the statement from Councillor Kofa, where he said that he's going to come up with an official statement whether he's going to resign or he's going to remain in this. So for this, we are still looking out to them, because the Liberian people are still being held on a hostage for the speakership, because people are not doing their normal things because of this speakership, and people are not getting what they needed to get. With this horse impact, people are being mainly affected, because you cannot see parents going to work, and then you're hearing so many things coming from their parents who they have their children home, going in hotels, sleeping there. But for what reason? The people didn't letter you for you to go in hotel to sleep, but rather you should go there to make laws, implement laws. So we still are waiting to see who's the final speaker, but we hope to see from now to June or July, so that this whole entire issue can be handled.
Well, the biggest thing here, Mr. Gamer, the biggest issue here is for us to give probably political predictions of what is going to happen in the next few days.
That's what I'm asking you, now, Mr. Solomon.
The biggest prediction for what is going to happen in the next few days, first of all of the periods that Kofa was speaker, based on what the Supreme Court has said, he should get paid. So he should get his pay as speaker.
Sure.
Technically. maybe, and his staff in his office. Another thing is, some of the guys who were suspended during this period of the crisis should also be taken care of. But that whole issue about new election, to get new election, is not going to happen. That is my prediction. You could have a different view about it. But I think the guys have consolidated. Kun is who they believe in. You have election 10 times they will support Kun. So they're not going to waste their time.
And that's what we are talking about.
So to say something to what you just said, you just said, for that, Kun is now waiting to go into election. For that, from my point of view, Kun is now waiting to go into election.
You don't want to take the risk, huh?
Yeah, you don't want to go into election, and people are hearing honorability to be one of the candidate who will be running into the election. So it seems to be like people are still doubting it, but Kun is now waiting to go into election. From my point of view, what I've been seeing for the past time on the speakership. So if you see Kun is just want to be there, just say we have a quorum and we are going to go into that quorum and pass the budget and do whatever that is right for the Liberian people. But to go into that election to come up with a new speaker that the Liberian people will recognize, everyone will recognize, I don't think Kun is willing to go into that.
Wow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we got 9 more minutes to go here. Let me read some of your comments here.
We are also going to take calls. We got
10 minutes. Take about 3 calls.
We have more than 10 minutes because we're going off by 12:30.
Okay, and what time you got there?
I have 11:52.
Okay, so go ahead. Let's take some calls. Let King Solomon have some answer to some of the stuff. But the other question was tough for King Solomon. Yeah, go ahead, King Solomon.
people are in the comment section saying he's beating around the bush.
I know. I took the king.
The highest thing any of us can do here is to predict.
King,
because technically,
King, you are the wisest man. That's why I gave you the careful.
If you think there is going to be new election, that's not going to happen.
The careful
choice. You have new election even 10 times. These guys are bent on supporting,
and that's a good thing. I want him to be speaker if he gets he gets 37.
And how do you even make the decision to go to election? It got to be still made by the same body, and the body is never going to agree for new election.
No, but listen,
a lot of leadership transformations have been made. There are people now into new leadership role at the legislature. All of that, they're not going to change that.
Mr. Biere, if the speaker resigns tomorrow, automatically the law says T5 is there until 60 days to have the election. Kofa had nothing to do with that now.
That's the problem. T5 that you say is there, T5 that you say is there, is never going to take the risk to run for speaker. There's a reason why.
No. I don't think
because he's not going to take that risk. I don't think so. To take that risk, it means you have to resign. It's not like the presidential election where when you have the man as senator, the man can take risk to go run for president.
I don't think.
If T5 dares try to run for speaker, he has to resign. So he's not going to take the risk.
No. His job is only to preside over the election. He's not running.
And then he's aligned with this side. Because he's aligned with this side and he has the gavel, he will protect the side.
And that's fine. As long as it's done. Maya takes some calls. Announce the numbers, let the people call. But I got King Solomon here. I gave him the title. I gave him everything. and he's supposed to be the wisest man in town.
Okay, so you can put your calls in 0777-649986, 0777-649986, and +231 777-649986. You can put your calls in. You've been following the conversation here on Truth 96.1 and other frequency across Liberia, relaying this broadcast here. So 0777-649986. For our viewers and our followers online, you can call us +231 777-649986. We have our first caller here. Hello, caller. Nima, what do you call from?
Yeah, I need to schedule you my calling for
Mr. Gaming, getting him?
Yes, it's kind of low.
Okay, so make it.
What's his name again?
Is that your name?
Police Academy.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I really got it too, but I'm kind of starting the way people tend to preach that most about this politics. If you are talking about national issues, you shouldn't be pushing around the bush. That's why I see the conversation for you. Speaking around the bush. The clear idea is what the speaker has been done, the executive speaker is over as the speaker. And the speaker is to preside over the election after the 60 days. So if they are going to contest as speaker, yes, but there is a show of very, very true 100% chance that I will not sit there and say, oh, I'm not going to put the speakership for the period for the speakers.
Okay, thank you. Let's try to take another call. Okay, we lost that call. 0777 649986. 0777 649986. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from? Hello? Hello, caller. Hello? Wow, we lost that caller. So you can put the calls in 0777 649986. Hello, caller.
Hello?
Yeah, Nima, where do you call from? Please stay away from your monitor.
Yeah, I'm Jacob Dan. I'm calling from White Plains.
Play by TS Car.
Please stay away from your monitor. Go ahead.
Okay. So let me just say something about that individuals that continue to beat around the bush. They don't have feeling for this country. They don't have feelings for this country. You know, when you are saying something, be real. Look at the truth and see it. Supreme Court have said this to us as we interpret this particular law to us. What you guys want us to do in this country? What you guys learn for? So you want us to just be like that other countries just laugh at us? Crazy, man. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Let's try to take another caller. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from? Hello, caller. Wow, we lost that caller. 0777 649986. 0777 649986. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from?
Yeah, my name is Michael Seek. I was calling from Brooklyn. The couple as well. East Road, Brooklyn, Pomiawe. Yeah, the conversation I want to have. You know, when it comes to the development aspect of this country, our own people are the ones who are really hurting our feelings. Yeah, because they let it go and they only have interest of themselves, but not to get the country on the rightful path. So this is why I'm making this point into.
You said what happened there? Okay, we lost that caller. Stay away from your monitor. We are not getting you. Wow, we lost that caller. 0777 649986. 0777 649986. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I've been to one point, and I coming from last house. It is so sad for government here the opportunity to many of our people they travel and they are educated and they want to destroy like you. Can someone answer the question that is when we beat it around the bush? You know, the issue here is people don't want to be people. Because people want to be people, and then with the constitution. On the phone, so I said, "What you eat like that?" He said, "No, that is it." And I cannot accept it. So, God, he was there. When you had that, it's other things. When you don't work, you know, where that, like, bro, will be settled, and like, bro, for the law. I don't want to do that under the law. Thank you so much for the opportunity. That's so beautiful.
Okay, you're welcome. So let's take the next caller. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from?
Hello,
Yeah, Nima, where do you call from?
my name is Alex Johnson Stewart, calling from Cali community.
Okay, make your point.
Yes, I'm from Israel too. He will be the former minister. Now, I can say I was so something when I won't realize. But now, if the Indian people doing their own thing, projects that used to be 5,000 now is 11,000 in market. No, just for we don't know how we are working. And we start with hearing people complain, and we are also very nothing. Another thing has to do with the early. Instead of the power test people bringing a unit to sell it to the people to the line, is your line hospital you want direct to sell unit to you. From there, the money sell the money to government. They can't do it. They will take all your wire and carry and sell it for themselves. The government hasn't benefited because I talk about the post. My people, they country for us. We not get no other place to go. For our own people suffering us. So you're looking to it, let the people see our needs in the country. And the police, from here to Old Road, we have only one road to go, from Cali to go Old Road. For police to the intersection there, we like can sell from Cali, carrying our low way for motor to pass. When you go to here at the station, motor by over in an international road down there, you go out there, they person here and there. Why they can't open right here for us? We like can go back our market to come sell and sustain ourselves for our children to go to school. But they stopping us from crossing right here to Cali to go and go market. My people are there, let the government loading that one for the motorcycle to just cross from Cali to go to Old market. At least when we buy our thing, we'll see all the time there. Not everybody will be taking to be begging to go to step. So, brothers are in the studio there. That's my concern.
Okay, thank you so much. So you can put the cost in 0777 649986, 0777 649986, and plus 231 777 649986 here to be a part of the closing argument on Truth 96.1. So 3 minutes past 12 o'clock. So like this caller. Hello, caller. Hello. Wow, we lost that caller. 0777 649986 plus 231 777 649986. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from?
Hello, this is William Sama calling from Broadway,
Okay, make your point.
Yeah, the problem is our leaders in this country. Those guys are in the still there, they are not being justice to the Liberian people. The thing is very clear. The Supreme Court has come up with a ruling, and if Kofa is to be done, definitely with the House Speaker. The vacancies is there, the Deputy Speaker presides, and the call for re-election. But Kunka continue with that on the position because he is not legal. He has to go for election before he declares as Speaker. So we can continue that trend. So that is my contribution. They know it clear, but they don't want to see it. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Also, thank you. 0777 649986 plus 231 777 649986. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from?
Hello?
Yeah, Nima, where do you call from?
James Gosson Jr. III, and I do join you from Johnsonville.
Okay, make a point.
Okay, so the topic there in studio, actually, my attention has to do with the issue of the speaker.
Okay, go ahead.
If we don't have in Liberia, I will trust Bonati Kofa to be one of those, persons in Liberia. Reason I say this is he tried to, show something they call transparency. One, Liberian with people who don't respect law. So if at all we get such a person, we get 3 or 4 in Liberia, people will respect law in this country. You understand? All right. So the issue of him, writing to the former president of, Liberia by resigning, I see it to be necessary. He not resigning.
Wow, we lost that caller. Let's take this caller. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from? Please be audible. We are not getting you. Okay, go ahead.
As I'm speaking now, people from and now it is not and we will take when I take over as to gonna be stay back anybody that is the law okay to behind good as they take down.
Wow, we lost that caller. Hello, caller. Oh wow. 077764986. 077764986. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from?
Yeah, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Nima, where do you call from?
Okay, my name is Eugene Clark. I'm calling from Israel.
Okay, make a point.
Yeah, my point. I just heard the number and I got on, so I want to know what it is. You can talk what is on your mind concerning this in this program.
Yeah. We discuss a series of issues.
Okay, my concern here is this orange company. This orange company in this country.
We lost that. Hello, caller. Yeah, Nima, where do you call from?
My name is Julius. Calling from DSA community.
Okay, make your point.
Okay, so I have a concern. There's this group that are formerly being known as QNet. They have changed their locations and scattered into different parts of the community and still affecting people because I see my friends that are being affected by them. They are deaf or deaf and they're not started read by cops. When I asked the guy, I said, which kind of place they go to here? Because I'm a motorcyclist, so I'm an occupation for now. He said, oh, you want to know? I said, oh yeah, I'm serious because I want to part of something. He said, okay, when you get anything, you will know. So I suspected that it was one of the two. So the government has to do something about this because people are all around. They will collect money from people, lie to them about job opportunities and all things, and then people are really being affected by it. Yeah, that's very much concern.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. 077764996. So let's take this caller. Hello, caller. Nima, where do you call from?
I'm calling from Providence.
Yeah,
My
please.
name is Robert A.J. Brewer.
Yeah, please be audible.
My name is Robert A.J. Brewer. I'm calling from Providence.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, my contribution towards this phone talk pertaining to the resignation of the speaker or whether he resigned or not, although the Supreme Court has already ruled this decision.
Then you are talking that Speaker Kun, we go back to do the re-election, and that means we are going back to square one, in a sense that the Supreme Court had declared Kun is not legitimate. Then what all Kun has been doing, that means it will not be legitimate. Then we have to revise it. But if at all, this man, our speaker, that they say he has been legitimate, if he resigns, then the majority that elected Kun will stay and stand. That's my contribution.
Okay, thank you. 077764996. Let me this caller. Hello, caller. Name, where do you call from?
Yeah, my name is from Punasma.
Okay, make your point.
Thank you so much. My question has to do with FD. FD has been thought in the substance. We are not touching comparison to, but those are not just a simple thing to look here or there. If we respect labor, they pay other people respect them. Give money to that work that came to get in good salary, and do that been there. You can drop it from 2005, 2021, they are still 2021, they are still on the 150 and 150. How can they want to listen to your Reporter General? How can 150? Somebody work for 150 in Liberia to keep to a peaceful hearing. I did not say in the issue was somebody not to carry on education, that time because okay, myself, and I have to go to school. Number two, government came up with a DSA to give 50 hours to people or 10 hours. They're still offering hours over the DSA $25. Let's complete by labor practice. So I please want for my dear government to take more attention to FDA, not to put it behind there at all. Let us focus on something to be able to benefit of something tomorrow in this country.
Thank you. So I think Mr. Gimme, if you want us to get back to you, we can get back.
Okay, welcome, Mr. Garguah. Welcome to the show. Great to see you.
Great to see you as well, German. Even though our brother here don't want to see me, but he has no choice. I'm here.
Listen, that your Basel thing, you're not bringing it here on this show. Your Basel, everywhere you go, you want to fight. Politics.
Look. My man, I would told the man in the back that my man, you coming on the show late. The show over.
You see, but you
wait for another day to start your debate. So they will get to any debate.
You see, Robert coming late. Brother Ahmed, I just got there. Look at him.
Because Robert won't start the show or.
We know exactly why I'm on.
I know.
When I saw him, I said, "Well, come on."
Robert, we got 15 minutes here, but your opinion counts. And then after you, we go to our brother Ahmed. The speaker spoke to the nation today. Can you pull your camera up a little bit so we can see you? There you go. Okay. We're gonna need your camera, that man got here, look. Okay, so here we are. The speaker for the Antikofa spoke to the nation, clarifying some stuff. He said that he's getting ready. He's consulting for transition. For those of us that support the rule of law, we have always said this. Fonantikova had lost the confidence of his peers, and that's fine. He cannot get a quorum, but there's a way to remove him. Now that he's contemplating resigning, the law says his deputy should preside for up to 2 months, 60 days, and then an election be held. My brother here, our own astute Mr. Biere is of this opinion that Mr. Comfort has been cemented to the point where there should be no, or he foresee no election, no way, under no circumstance will an election be held. But there is no legal channel. He is not in the line of succession. There is no other legal way for Kun to become speaker. Your take on this?
I think that history will be kind to us, including those who have a different opinion on this matter. My opinion on a possible resignation of the speaker, I will wait to see the reasons why he wants to resign. Now, I've always said there are two issues here. One is a political issue, and one is a constitutional issue. I think he has won the constitutional battle, which is he has stuck to his guns. He has seek redress from the court, which is what we expect each of us law-abiding citizens to do. And the court have ruled on his side. Now, if Speaker Kofa resigns because he wants the people's business to move forward, then I will agree. If his colleagues no longer have confidence in him, and he chooses to resign, I think his decision to resign should be based not on pressure from any other political force, but because he chooses to resign. Number two, I think any resignation from the speaker that involves a deal, as been speculated, a possible deal where he benefits himself financially, I think will raise question about his true intent. There have been rumors around the place about a potential $3 million deal, which I think they've already shut that down to be not true. But Fanatic Kofa would have to decide his political fate. I will continue to give him credit for standing on principles and standing by the law.
Absolutely.
But this battle can only be won if this ends in a legislative election that conforms with the Constitution and the House of Representatives standing rules and procedures. And so again, if he resigns, to your point, as the rule says and the Constitution says, the Deputy Speaker will take charge pending an election of the new Speaker. There should be absolutely no way that Richard Cohn is allowed to assert himself as he has unconstitutionally. And I will stop here, since I'm getting used to this 2 minutes thing here. I will stop here, and I want to listen to what Toga has to say, because even in our group chat, I just don't understand Toga's logic. And Toga is a very smart man. I gotta say, I respect Toga. He's a astute journalist. He's been around for a long time. But when he says no law has been broken, I have not listened or heard him really give any legal just logical explanation as to, from his perspective, how does he conclude that no law has been broken? Is the Supreme Court stupid? Are we stupid? Are lawyers who appreciate the law, are they stupid? Fanatic Kofa have not been given due process, and we know that. We have asked for it. We do not necessarily support Fanatic Kofa, but we support the law. So I will wait and see on what ground he chooses to resign. But again, if it's based on an election that elects a new speaker, and if that speaker is Richard Cohn, if those folks think Richard Cohn deserves the speakership, Richard Cohn must be elected constitutionally. I have no quarrels with that. So I will stop there for now.
Welcome, Mr. Russell. Nice to see you. Ms. Ahmed, I have taken the title of King Solomon temporarily from Mr. Biede, and I'm giving it to you. You are the wisest man now in the room. I brought the baby to you. 3 mothers are fighting over this baby. How do you solve this problem? What is your prediction? How do you think this is going to end? King Solomon, you're not the wisest man. You got the title. Go ahead. We can't hear you. You are muted.
The title of the wisest man cannot hold on me when you have the likes of Russells and Roberts and
listen,
in the room. However,
you are not going to. For now, you are the king, King Solomon. Go ahead. You're not going to meander out of this one.
That title cannot really hold. The crown is too heavy on the bear. However, we attempt to provide some ideas.
Go ahead.
Look, here's the thing. Whatever the outcome is in this matter, be it considering that Kofat in his statement considered a transition, if it ends up in his resignation, as I indicated in my post today, in a position I hold, Kofat is going to be remembered as an icon for the rule of law, a patriot. I think fundamentally the only reason why that could cause Kofat to resign could be perhaps out of patriotism. You want the country to go, you want to say, look, we have done it all. The Supreme Court have ruled. It cannot be on me anymore. The government of the day have decided that it will violate the code. It has the potential to lead to chaos and confusion. As much as I would love to serve, as much as I think the law is on my side, I also don't want to see the country going into drifting, because our people already suffer. And so I will step aside. If that would mean, using the King Solomon story, if that would mean for the baby to live, I must give it to the wrong mother, hoping that as it nurtures and gets older, it will one day realize who its true mother is, then so be it. I will sacrifice. But here's the thing. At the end of the day, years from now, as this story will be told, the villain of this story is going to be Joseph Boyka. And Kofa is going to be the protagonist, the hero of the rule of law, a man who defied a pattern where speaker could unconstitutionally be removed, because what is on the book is that the action to remove him, that action is illegal. That is what is on the book. That's what history is going to remember. So I would think, and right now, whether we like it or not, there's complete coercion, there's complete humiliation. I mean, look, you speaker, they say the court have said, declare you speaker, of course, that way you do not have the immunity, you do not enjoy the immunity of being speaker. You don't have the protection, the respect, the consideration. What's the essence? When you much more than that, your contribution to society is much defined than just the speaker position. We agree is a very big position to tear in the country, but your contribution to the country is much more than that. And so we do not know how Kofat's post tend to provide sufficient reason for those who are speculating that he could resign to speculate in that way when he talked about transition. But like I said, I would think the fundamental basis of that could be because he wants to ensure that the stability and peace of our country is not shaking as a result of his position. And when the story is told, when this story is narrated, is acted in a movie, there will be two characters, a protagonist and an antagonist. Fonati Kofa will be remembered as a protagonist of the rule of law, while Joseph Boyka will be remembered as an antagonist and murderer of the Supreme Court. I think that's where we are.
Thank you. Mr. Russell, I have gone back to Israel. I'm taking the title from Hamed.
I never had a title anyway.
They say the head that wears the crown bears the weight. It was too heavy for him. You now, the king, you are King Solomon. How do you end this stalemate to save face? Because Mr. Cole is in a terrible spot. How do you save face, but yes, does justice to the Constitution and the Supreme Court?
Well, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. All right. Great being on once again, and thanks. It's always a pleasure hanging out with you all and coming up with some really clever ideas as to how we move our country forward. So it's awesome to see Robert and Toga and Hamed and you, Jerome, our guy there in the studio, Myean. How do you pronounce your name? I'm not
Yeah,
even
that's
sure.
it. You got it.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay,
Myean.
Okay, yeah. So great being here with you all. So I mean, I think it's simple, right? I mean, this is not complicated. This is not rocket science. And the way I solve this problem is that is to just follow the full letter of the rule of law. We live in a constitutional democracy, and if we are going to protect our democracy and ensure that our democracy continues to flourish, we have to abide by the rule of law. And I mean, it's just that simple. So in this particular scenario that we have, I will encourage, Mr. Jonathan Fonati Kofa to turn in his resignation if that's what he would like to do. And constitutionally, that means that the deputy speaker should take over, and then we can have a fresh election for who the next speaker is going to be. I don't think that I will give any crumbs or anything to Mr. Kuhn. I don't think he deserved it. He violated the rule of law. He violated the Constitution. And he doesn't need to be rewarded as a result. So, I mean, yes, do I want this issue to be resolved? I do want this issue to be resolved, like all of us, I'm sure, on this platform, and many of our listeners and viewers would like this issue to be resolved. But I'm not, Jerome, I am not going to contribute to bad behavior. And I think what they did was bad behavior. And however we want to cut it or dice it or slice it politically, this is bad behavior. And and I'm not going to support that, and I'm not going to give any sort of credit to him. So as far as he's concerned, as far as I'm concerned, he needs to be where he is, and we shouldn't give anything to him, because to do that, we just continue to contribute to this widespread culture of impunity that we have in the country. And, and that's part of what is killing us. That is hurting us. That's hurting our country, hurting the democracy. Why, we don't have a lot of investors coming. A lot of these things are interrelated. I'm sure we all know this.
Oh yeah.
They're all interrelated. So I'm not going to reward him by kowtowing to him in any way, shape, or form. I'm not even going to mention him. I'm not even going to consider him. I mean, those who try to elevate him and give him all of this sort of credence, okay, good for them. But where we are now in this stalemate, if the speaker is coming forward and want to turn to submit his resignation, for the sake of the country, for the sake of peace, for the sake of resolving this impasse, I will welcome that. But I'm not going to reward Mr. Kuhn. I don't think he deserved that.
Great, Mr. Toga.
Yes, sir.
I was at one of the embassies, and I was talking to the staff there, and I said, "What do you guys make of what's going on?" And the senior staff that looked at me and said, "Mr. Gaiman, you are trying to compare our system to Liberia's." He said, "You are trying to transfer technology." I know exactly what he meant when he said that. He said they have their way, they have their own way of doing things in this country. So here you are, the speaker. I was shocked to have seen that they put metal iron doors. He has installed metal doors in the people's house. The chamber. In the United States here, we take our children to the Capitol and they walk through. Mr. Russell will tell you the kids come to these government offices to see how government functions. And then you have this man, a padlock, he has an iron door installed. The optic is terrible. As a talker, how do you defend or protect someone like that? And you say you think he will remain as speaker?
Thank you, Mr. Gaiman. Thank you. First of all, I know the show was like wrapping up before the other colleagues joined.
We got 5 minutes.
Yeah, so and a lot of people had earlier on called in on the show, and I wanted to respond to a few of the issues before I come to the real subject. One of those issues I heard people talk about is this issue of the QBED thing, the QNet, this fraudulent stuff that has been taking money from people over generations in the country. It's saddening that, I mean, government upon government know about this, but they've done nothing about this QNet thing. In fact, we had a time where we had a smart AI group, King Web, a lot of money. These few days, it happened even in Nigeria. You had a group, I think, called Seabed or so in Nigeria. They moved there. They did similar thing like AI and web, trillions of naira from the people. I don't know why the government will keep having QNet. The QNet discussion, not today.
What is QNet?
It's some fraudulent organization into fraud in the country, and they got offices running. They say they bring products and they give it to people, something like that. Some funny stuff. And people, you got to be contributing your money to it. And they say your money will grow over time. It has been in the country for some time now.
Exactly.
And people know about that. So I don't know why the government will keep these kind of people around, and they keep doing that. I heard another lady talk about the issue of the motorbike situation. I strongly do not accept the fact that motorbikes should still in this 21st century run in our major streets in Monrovia. I think it's unacceptable. It doesn't give the city a modern look. But this is Liberia, where we think that all of us, even from the same modern world, we see these things, they never happen there. But we come to the country and we tend to politicize everything to the point where they see people sitting in America that they don't see it on their streets, but they say it must happen in Liberia. In fact, the motorbike riders, let's go protest in the country so that motorbike riders can get back on the street. But these same people, they stay in America, they stay in the modern country. They don't see motorbike running in the streets of their country, of the countries they sit in. That is the part of the hypocrisy of our political class. Anything that got to do with the masses that will keep us in power or that will bring us to power, we must celebrate it, whether it is not good for the system. I mean, we should only encourage government to be able to get more buses on the street. We must enhance transportation means for the people. The thing I was talking about today, like train, we can get metals still saying they want to expand our train track only for iron ore in the country. You must be able to expand your train track to come from the port of Monrovia to Buchanan, from the port of Monrovia to the southeast. That's how we improve the country. Where in the world you see motorbike in the street, even me when I'm driving in Monrovia sometimes, when you are afraid to even bring your glass down in Monrovia because the number of motorbike people that will be around you when you're in the streets. Is that correct? People will think that, okay, because few people get car, so they now want other people. But no, government is also on an obligation to provide transportation means for its citizens. The other day, I saw the NTA. They brought in 3 buses and they were making big news about it. That NTA just brought in three buses. In fact, in the West, if people get buses upon buses to the point where somebody can be on the bus, you're only 3 on it, and you carry you somewhere. You're only 3 people riding our bus until you can pick up somebody from another bus stop. We have to change the system. So for me, I don't bring partisan idea here. In fact, I come as an independent person to these shows. There's nothing about partisan. So there will be times where the government, I came on the show, almost 80% of the things I talk on the show here were about development, about rebranding of the country, about how we could change the mindset of our people. I wasn't talking politics, but I know when it comes to the whole speakership debate, Monserrado is a crowded terrain. In fact, in the country, the first place in Liberia that can start turning over to the opposition, that's Monserrado. And there's a simple reason for that. The first group of people that can start getting disenchanted with the government in power, that's Monserrado. That's why CDC even lost Monserrado. Because the first group of people, the person who living near Garguah before he became minister, they men renting one room before they made a man minister. As soon as the man become minister, the 5 people that can start hating the government and the neighbor that living around them. Why they men put fair right all that problem? So Monserrato is the boiling spot for the opposition. So I don't expect for people to think that look, the whole crisis ongoing, there's nothing wrong with it. There are 2 articles here. There's Article 49, there's Article 33. I said that from the very beginning of the show. I gave a scenario with the Edwin Snow episode because I was a reporter as a journalist assigned on Capitol Hill during the Edwin Snow saga. Edwin Snow had to resign. He had no option. In fact, Kofa has to resign. Kofa has got no option. You keep Kofa in the next 2 weeks as speaker, they will expel him. You keep Kofa in the next 2 weeks as speaker of the House of Representatives, he will get expelled.
Who will expel him?
Because the guys will get the number. The guys will get the number he been requesting for, and will use that same number to expel him. This is what. No, you don't hijack me. We had a conversation before in the background. We don't hijack me on the show.
Okay, but let's limit it to 2 minutes.
We had a conversation that we're not hijack people on the show.
No. We want to limit it to 2 minutes.
We had a conversation without hijack.
Let's do it in 2 minutes.
So let me remind Toga.
No, hold on. We said we're not going to hijack.
But it said 2 minutes.
But my 2 minutes.
It's been a long time.
You're telling me now. Okay, start telling me now.
No, it's been a long time. Toga, Toga. Yeah,
listen. No, because I heard people saying I'm beating around the bush, so I'm coming clearer. Many of the people who call on the show say I was beating around. I'm coming clearer. Look, legislative politics is a normal game. Nobody must mislead you.
We understand this.
Kofa lost the majority of his colleagues.
And Cone doesn't have it either.
The fact that the issue even expanded over 6 months, it made it even worse for Kofa. Many of the people that were even supporting Kofa have all shifted.
Man, Biera, don't make me speak the All River language. If it works for him, it works for Cone.
It's worse now for Kofa. Okay. He has lost most of the people that were supporting him.
Listen,
he has lost. Kofa does not have people supporting him right now.
Toga. You
this
heard
thing
what
is not about party. I know people bring.
No, we're not talking about party here. Toga, the Supreme Court said there could even be thousands on the other side to Kofa alone. He has the Constitution inside. They would still be illegal. Mr. Robert Garguah, 1 minute.
Thank you. So let me remind Toga. You keep saying you're giving this unconstitutional body more power than they legally deserves. You do not have the power to do anything in the sitting where you currently sit. Maybe that went over your head, Toga. And so you are not telling us that even though they have violated the Constitution, the Supreme Court said in both of its rulings that their actions are virus, meaning they do not have the legal authority or power to take any actions. The suspension you talk about, it's unconstitutional. And now you're telling me with a straight face on national radio that they still, despite the Supreme Court ruling, that they still have the power to expel the speaker. That's what you're telling us. They do not have that power. So again,
who told you? Who told you they can expel the speaker?
The Constitution, the Supreme Court.
Which Constitution told you the speaker can be expelled?
So my friend, so what did you read and comprehend the Supreme Court ruling? Because you clearly did not do that.
The Supreme Court ruling was in two folds. The Supreme Court ruling still maintains that the majority has the right because Article 33 gives the majority the same right. You see, Constitution you are using one portion of the Constitution, which is Article 49. And Article 33 is also a part of the Constitution. It's not like you're reading the Bible, but you're only reading one verse. And you want that one verse to protect your interest.
Toga, wait a minute. The majority can.
There is Article 49. There is Article 33. Read it too.
You can't wait, my brother. Wait, you're not going to.
Because you people have consistently misled the people.
Listen,
you consistently misled the people.
Our guys in the studio had to go, but let me make this announcement. I pause your time. Let me make that announcement. Our CEO daughter, I think her name is Miss Peabody. She graduated. She did a presentation, And their topic is how do symptoms of the post-traumatic stress disorder experienced by children in war recur in adulthood? Basically, children who experience, not only children, but anybody who experiences post-traumatic stress disorder during the war, it has a propensity of coming back and showing up in different ways. Some women wouldn't have children. Some people get sterile because of that. Some people had nightmares. I mean, it's a very, 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 very critical topic. I want to congratulate a young lady. I think she graduated this year. Ms. Peabody, we got you. Did an excellent job. Your parents are proud. We are proud of you. Any parent will be proud of a child doing this great. Thank you very much, and we salute you. We will be coming to the graduation, God's willing. Thank you. Yeah, Robert Garguah, you were in flight.
Congratulations to Miss Peabody. Again, Toba, just because let me remind you again. You can have thousands of folks in whatever corner that you need to have them.
A long discussion here.
You can have, but that's why I keep telling you, you need to come back. You've been away for too long.
You can't late, and then you won't
have a
come
lot
into
of
this conversation. You can't
You have a lot of case to make. So come back tomorrow and come back the
all the
whole
other
next week,
putting there
because
on the
this
show,
one show
yeah.
will not cut it. This one show will not cut it. But you cannot have. So let me come on now. Let me say this. We're on radio. You cannot have quorum without the constitutional and legal speaker. So the Supreme Court is very clear. Your issue here is that Richard Cohn has all the bodies. He has all the quorum. But Richard Cohn is constitutionally is not the speaker. So just because Richard Cohn has the quorum or he gathers more people in a certain area does not give him the constitutional power to carry out any function that should be presided and carried out by the constitutionally elected speaker. Don't miss that point. Don't miss that point. So the Supreme Court was very clear. Richard Cohn is not speaker. Now, if you want Richard Cohn to be speaker, if you think that Fanatic Kofa has lost the confidence of his folks, that's fine. All we said, and I believe Fanatic Kofa agrees, let them return to the main chamber, put this on plenary. Fanatic recuses himself, turns the session over to the deputy speaker, and you test the strength of the numbers you said you have. If it's 49, vote 49, yeah, nay, the speaker, then Fanatic Kofa is removed. Then the deputy speaker takes office pending an election. None of these things have happened, but you continue to ignore the fact that these laws have been broken in our faces only because you don't like Fanatic Kofa. I don't fancy him either.
You come back to personalize it. You come back now to personalize it. Which is not the case.
So Mr. Kehleboe, we can just go off by one.
Was invited on several occasions, and he refused to go for hearings.
We got 15 minutes here, right?
Several letters were sent to him.
Okay, guys, we're 10
due
minutes
process
now.
does not work to you, bro.
No, you come to the
work
main chamber and present.
When they say they're giving you due process, if you put somebody to court, and the person is not coming to court, the court will not go low for them to get in due process. They'll get in due process in their absence.
To address grievances at RIJ? That's what you wanted him to do?
But you had slow time, you had the entire legislature going to Unity Conference Center.
But that's
why they tell people at the time they didn't say they were sitting illegally.
This is not slow time.
We don't conduct legal business at
Slow time. You had the entire.
But that was slow time. We're talking about today. We're not talking about snow.
It's not the first time.
It was bad then. It was bad.
It was bad.
Okay, guys. It's Ahmed's time. Ahmed, you're 2 minutes. Toga, you're 2 minutes.
Not bad.
Toga, please.
You just following mistakes. That's why you're angry.
No, I'm not just following it. It was bad.
Hey, guys.
No.
Guys,
just because Snow resigned,
I'm giving you instances.
Did not make it right. No,
that you had lawmakers meeting at Unity Conference Center during the Edwin Snow saga.
Go ahead.
Not wrong. So meeting anywhere is not wrong. They said
on the procedure, Mr. Ahmed, let's go with procedure.
The two branches, the bodies of the legislature, they should be in the same capital. Now you meeting in somebody's house.
We got somebody here.
I know why I said the whole argument.
Come back for a whole month. You got to make the argument.
It's not illegal.
Ahmed, go ahead.
The law says the Senate and the House of Representatives will meet in the same capital. There is nothing illegal about meeting the RLJ.
Listen,
Nothing
go ahead,
illegal.
Ahmed.
RLJ is the new era now.
No,
well, I think
that's wrong.
Okay, go ahead.
well, I think
the parties must meet in the same capital. It's in the law.
I think this situation, we were confronted with two fronts. One was legal and the other was political. Obviously, the legal one tend to have been more grave, considering that its effect on the rule of law. And so it brings to a conclusion our argument as to justifying all of this legally. It brings to a conclusion when the Supreme Court ruled, suggesting that all of these different sides have the opportunity to advance what they thought was justification for their action, which I think they did to the best of their ability. And in the end, those who are responsible to evaluate our laws, to look at the application of our laws on actions, concluded that the actions to remove the speaker was illegal. In my mind, that defeats many of the other arguments. Well, the guys have said, considering that the respect that the decision was taking, they thought to ask the court to review a decision. Meaning, now here's the thing: if the court decides to review its decision, we'll end a new argument and say, look, we are reviewing everything, we still maintain our position. The question will ask ourselves, will they then abide by that decision? We don't know. So we leave that on the ground that it has been settled until a reconsideration, until the court comes out and say, look, we are receiving a petition to re-argue. For now, we know that the decision of the Supreme Court says the action to remove Speaker Cover was illegal. So that comes to the political aspect of it. Yes, it is true. Once you do not have politically the numbers perhaps to legitimize your leadership, it becomes difficult for you to lead. But we must never forget that that situation was not created out of vacuum. That situation was created as a result of manipulation, as a result of overreach and interference. Why is this important to us?
Amen. It was pre-act unconstitutional acts.
Of course, that's what we are saying. I'm saying, why is this important to us? We will live with whatever this is now. Perhaps we'll find out of us. But the fear is, if this becomes a precedent tomorrow, it may not necessarily be the removal of a speaker, but it could be arbitrary arrest and detention of a person by another government. We know how Liberia can operate from usher of intellectualism. It is a common practice in St. Paul, and I may not do it too. But the time I may do it, when you say it is something rooted in our behavior attitude. This is my fear. As somebody who intends to remain in politics for a long time, who have had the opportunity of being around power and understands how power can corrupt even the most intellectual amongst us, how power can corrupt even those with all of the integrity, particularly so in a country where institutions are not as strong as other places. This is my fear. This president, at this point for me, it's not about Kofa. I think Kofa and his team have reached a point where I don't think they can continue anymore. I think they have done whatever they can do. I think they have reached a point where they cannot, at the detriment of his comfort, his family. Those guys, some of them who have been suspended, not taking pay. I think at that point, I think they have exhausted. But that is not the issue. It's no more about Kofa. Look, you can still remove this man. Just allow us to affect and uphold the rule of law. The reason we say this thing is because there could be someone more deposited than Joseph Boyka. There could be someone who could come up tomorrow and say, you know what? We are suspending the Supreme Court. There could be a person who could come and say, you know what? It happened to Cabinet Jana at the time he was removed. Of course, they
remove Cabinet Jana.
Are coming.
At that time,
assuming the removal of Cabinet Jana was wrong.
Illegality we're talking about today.
But then you supporting it.
Justify past wrong from
but let's see. My man, you gotta let me in.
When Kofa was when you were chairman of judiciary,
Alexander,
I have a letter here.
Alexander,
I have a letter here that was written to the judiciary.
Alexander,
you want me to read it to the public?
My man.
You want me to read this letter? It talks about separation of power. It was written on a cover side.
It
was written on a cover side.
Hijacking the thing from me like
that.
Yeah, to do that is to disrespect me. It's like what I'm about to say. You can't do that, brother. Brother, you can't do that. Brother, you can't do that. You can't do that. No, you can't do that. So that you can't do that.
Let the man land,
as I was saying, when Cabinet General was removed, even though the legal process went through the process as defined in the Constitution was executed, people still thought it was a government overreached. Today, a speaker is being removed in the presence of the defiance of the Supreme Court.
Who the people that thought, did you think at the time that it was a government overreach? Did you air your view on it that it was a government overreach?
Oh, of course, my view. Of course,
because
my view.
The man went to.
But that's not the issue. But that's not the issue. Toga.
He was never paid.
We cannot execute a program because we talk Kofa.
The precedence.
The point I'm making to you.
If you have a precedent, the precedent is wrong.
Today in Liberia,
you can't start away from what happened. The law is precedence.
We have again open of direct general Pandora, but there is a possibility that in the next 48 to 72 hours, Kofa could resign. There is a possibility. It's clear.
One law and say no.
The guys Russell come in small. Let Russell
have to land.
I mean, I don't. I'm not even sure what the
we can't do nothing, guys.
You had I knew you can't
we got 10 minutes here. Everybody has 2 minutes. Toga, let the man land. When he done, you do your closing and move on. Go ahead.
Yeah, but
when I do my closing, then nobody hijacked me because Garguah is here.
No, but you hijacking this man time.
Because they hijacked me all along.
No.
You made man live. You made a man that still got live. How Garguah hijacked you?
I was being hijacked.
How can Garguah hijack you?
You hijacked me consistently.
Robert.
Alexander
Go ahead, Ahmed.
Yeah, let the man be courteous.
If you say we're speaking and nobody should hijack the other thing, it's fine. But I will not be speaking Garguah hijack me. And you think when Garguah speaking, I'm not supposed to talk.
Yeah, but wait for him to speak then.
If you want to do it to Garguah, but you do it to Ahmed.
10 minutes to the end of the show. 10 minutes to the end of the show. You should not come on the show.
My second over talk, but we must respect our listeners.
10 minutes to the end of the show. Nobody should come on the show. Because you're coming to reignite a whole debate that we have passed.
Yeah, but
we got 10 minutes, please. Okay. Let the man land so you can come in, please.
Ahmed, go ahead.
Look, we must apologize to our listeners for the unacceptable behavior of the brother Alexander. We think people take their time to come up here. They cannot be. So as I was saying, let me conclude quickly. My conclusion is that we continue to set a very bad precedent for our country. The reason why some of us get particular
interest, then you can speak. They can't get two or you guys at the same time.
You are the mean man that can hijack people. You did it to me.
Okay. Wait, now let a man land.
You did it. When you stop hijacking me on the show, then I will stop.
Okay.
I cannot be speaking then you hijack me. Then when other people speaking, then you are Allen.
No. Okay, I apologize. Let a man land.
Okay, thank you.
We're gonna hire a hijack police. Go ahead, Ahmed.
Yeah, let me just talk so the brother can come in. Look, it's understandable. We as citizens need to have our blood need to boil at this point in time, regardless of the side you find yourself. For some of us at this point, we don't necessarily have a side. We are only afraid of the future. I know how government can operate. I know how the government in Liberia can always weaponize different institutions to go against the people. What will happen now will become a bad precedent for perhaps someone who could even be worse than Joseph Boakai to take power tomorrow. My fear is eventually anything that calls about the rule of law will eventually die a natural death. Considering that we today see the Supreme Court ruling as nothing to uphold, there will be time people will stand to even do worse. What we have established now, what this generation have established, will be just as much as the generation who perpetrated the war in the country. And so at this point in time, our concern should be that we uphold the rule of law. Baraka is in his golden years. We got a country to uphold. What happens in 6 years from now, in 12 years from now, when somebody else come up and say, look, we don't think we need a Supreme Court. When somebody come up and say, we don't even need a legislature. And as president, where will we be going? Those are the reasons why some of us are concerned. And so we conclude to say, whether Kofa resign, which it seems likely that he's about to do, considering that he is also losing some of the people who support him. We hear he has lost close to 7 presidents over the last 48 hours to the majority side. We still recognize coercion. We still recognize a complete executive overreach. And it is wrong. It's wrong because it sets a bad precedent. And I'm telling you, it will be in our lifetime. In our lifetime, not when we die, it will be in our lifetime that another executive outreach will be worse than this.
Thank you.
I just want to
You want to
summarize.
speak now?
Yeah, you got 2 minutes.
Thank you. So I hold here in my hand, first of all, a communication from the chief clerk when Kofa was chair on judiciary. So he technically sanctioned this letter written by the chief clerk to Sianeyo. I have it here, and I will put it in the chat room so you can read. And it clearly says, I present compliments and by directive of the plenary of the House of Representatives of the 54th legislature, I have the honor to inform you that this legislature is in possession of a paper served entitled Writ of Prohibition by Your Honor, Justice Nchimo Sianeyo. The plenary of the House of Representatives has instructed me to inform you for reasons set out below that the House of Representatives does not intend to honor the terms and the conditions of your writ. The House thinks that the writ violates Article 3, Separation of Powers, Clause Article 42, Immunities, Clause Article 43, Impeachment Powers, and a long line of cases and precedents in its jurisdiction. You are therefore advised, in the interest of our constitutional democracy and consistent with the separation of powers and checks and balances, to vacate this writ and avoid embarrassment to the sacred institution of the Supreme Court. This is a letter written by Maitre Seyon, the chief clerk of the House of Representatives, on Kofa's watch. Today, we say separation of power not important. Today, we think that majority not important. Today, the brother Hamed was right in Liberia working under the CDC administration when Cabinet Janet was removed. He did not utter a word. This is my issue. It's politics. And we want to politicize everything. I have come here and 80% of my thoughts here have been to criticize the Unity Party government and its excesses. I bring directly independent man based on experience. I work on Capitol Hill as a reporter. I understood these issues very well. Kofa's number has dwindled. It is not possible for Kofa to remain speaker while you have a majority bloc that is in majority. If you give Kofa the next 2 weeks as speaker, they are going to expel him. And the same Liberian people who are hailing him will not fear his family, because when he leaves the legislature, he will have problems. You cannot be speaker when you have majority of your colleagues now with you. Speakership is a normal game. Edwin Snow had more than 20 to 25 people stay behind him when he resigned. He was not dumb. No, he was not. But because he knew he had lost the number. I will stop here because I know Liberian people, they will always think, but that is the reality.
Thank you.
Kofa has lost the number.
Thank you.
So thank you, Toba. But let me remind you.
Yeah,
let me
go ahead.
Let me remind you as well that even when you thought, or as you think, that the Kabina Janet case was so unconstitutional, I would agree with you. There were some procedures and rules that did not align with the Constitution. But even at that, Kabina Janet had more of a due process, right? There were votes taken. The House of Representatives of 49, 48 voted. We can talk about the procedures, and I have questions about it, and I raised those questions about the separation of power and some of the procedures that were used. But at least a vote took place. A vote took place. In Kofa case, what has happened? Kofa has not even been given the opportunity to respond. And you're telling me he should have gone to RLJ. Are you kidding me? It doesn't work that way. The legislature does not conduct business at RLJ because the majority feel as though they have issues, and they cannot sit under the guava of the speaker to allow him respond to these issues. He offered to recuse himself. They said no. Why, if they have the numbers, why is it that they didn't go and test the strength of the numbers publicly so we can all see? Do you think that we will be sitting here backing the law had they followed the simple procedures? No. They have done nothing that aligns with the law. And lastly, the wrongs of yesterday and yesteryears cannot be justified for the wrongs today. People who saw wrong and kept muted, we must ask them, why were they quiet? Valid point. But you can't justify to this wrong because it happened yesterday, Torah. You can't say because Kofa was member of the judicial committee and under his watch these procedures were not followed. So somehow means what's happening to him, what's happening with regards to the law, not even to him is right. Kofa has a political issue, he must address his political issue. That's none of my concern. My concern is the constant, blatant disregard for the rule of law. It happened with Snow, it was wrong. Snow also has a political issue. It was wrong. We must learn how to respect the law regardless of our personal opinion of politicians. I don't support Kofa. I support the rule of law. So I will close. What happened yesterday was wrong and must be fixed. And I think part of us fixing today's issue will help bridge the gap with how we handle issues that involve constitutional matter.
Thank you. Mr. Russell?
Yeah, thanks. I'm sorry things went slightly array a few minutes ago. So I'd just like to say to the audience and the listeners that we're sorry about that. Sometimes these very passionate debates and conversation, tend to take a life of its own. So Myean, we are sorry about that. Okay. But this is a very critical, a very difficult issue that we have in the country. I think Speaker Kofa, Jonathan Fonati Kofa, is doing the right thing by stepping aside if that's what he intends to do. If the information that we're receiving, if the information is true, I think that's very positive development, because we cannot keep the country, at such a standstill. We need to, Robert, yeah, okay. At such a standstill. People need jobs, people need services. We need to, the country needs to move on. So I applaud his decision by deciding to step down, and then allowing Mr. Fala to step up and become the interim speaker until elections are held. I think that's the right thing to do. That's the constitutionally right thing to do. Not only is it constitutional and is in compliance with the rule of law, but it is definitely politically the right thing to do. Constitutional, and it's
but I just want to ask.
I'm hearing myself.
I just want to say something to Mr. Russell. Probably
you got to be real quick because we're running. We are out of time. Yeah. The guys got to go home.
Yeah, if we are unable to uphold the fundamental aspect of the speaker legitimacy, you think we are able to now ask that legislature to go and do re-election? If Kofa resigns, just forget it. That part of the show is over. The guy just going to continue from where they are. So, but because to suggest that them Fala should add, it means that you nullify the coup process, and not just the coup speaker, but every action that includes the budget that was part on the coup will be nullified. So the guys not going to do that. Our best bet was to hold the Supreme Court. As long as we throw in the tower in that regard, I mean, we just got to follow and accept whatever the guys will do on ground that, quote unquote, to get a majority.
Well, I understand that argument. I know Mr. Gaiman, has to close the show, so I would just stop there. But I have a completely different view on that. All is not lost. I don't think. I mean, I think this is to adhere to what the Supreme Court said to as well. It's all part of that. I think. But anyway, I will stop here, Mr. Gaiman.
Yes.
You have to close things here.
Your name and where you calling from? Hold on. Your name and where you calling from? Your name, where you calling from?
Can hear him.
Mr. Gaiman, my name is Melinson Yadru from New Jersey.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. The gentleman who argued that he was a legislative reporter or he was a reporter at the Capitol building failed to acknowledge that the removal of Aaron Snow resigned before he made and went to session and conducted a fresh new election and got his replacement. He was never a speaker, legally speaker, stay with the power for a group of people to go sit down in the corner somewhere and have a speaker. Even when Ellis Tyler was removed, Tyler resigned. He vacated his seat before fresh election was conducted to fill in his seat with Emmanuel Nukwe. You cannot have a speaker that was democratically elected, that is still backed by the law, that rebel group is going to sit down somewhere and replace him with a purported speaker. Why is it Kun is being referred to by Supreme Court as a purported speaker? Even if Kofa resigned today, Kofa is calling for fresh election. In line with the Constitution for him to be replaced. And we are told that Kun is saying no. Is that what we want Liberia to be? Is Liberia or Kun and Bogafa? The past two speakers that were removed, they stepped aside, they stepped down before they conducted election to replace that seat, to replace that vacancy. Why people is consider and mislead people? I said, those of us that are living, we didn't witness it. We are from Liberia, so we're living in Liberia. I was in Liberia when Edison was removed. I was here when Tyler was removed, but they all followed the process. Even though Snow went to Supreme Court and won the case, but the rebellion group, they were still challenging, and Snow didn't want to go further, so he resigned.
Thank you.
Anybody here?
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Guy history more than me. Or saying he spoke now, I can't speak. Because he's trying, he's thinking that I am misleading the public, so I want to get the facts. Can I get the facts? He spoke to me directly.
But I'll come back tomorrow.
Can I provide the facts?
Yeah,
you are the moderator, you should give me the facts. You can't get somebody come on the show and make it.
Can you do it in 1 minute?
Of course, I can do it in 1 minute.
Okay, hold on.
I can do that in 1 minute.
Go ahead.
All right. The first thing here is that Snow resigned, like he said. Another thing here is under the Kun issue, the guys had a resolution that they read on the day that T5 swear in Kun. They read it and they said they had 50 signatures. The unfortunate part is that in the report or in the findings or in the ruling from the Supreme Court, nothing about that resolution is there. So the Supreme Court is the one misleading the public because the Supreme Court should have injected the guy's resolution to say your resolution is illegal or your resolution did not have 50 signatures. The guy said they have 50 signatures for which they removed Kofa. The Supreme Court did not allude to those. So the Supreme Court is still giving the public something that is not true. Where is the resolution of 50 people signing a resolution to remove Kofa? The Supreme Court did not mention it. And we demand that the Supreme Court must mention that. So that if they were illegal, if there were no signature, we should know it.
Okay.
Elections are not held by the same.
Listen, guys.
So the
thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Toga.
The Constitution says election.
Listen, the young man got to go home, guys.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
tomorrow.
All right,
we'll
thank
be
you.
right
Tomorrow.
back here. Let's come on.
Look, I'll come back tomorrow and
Thank
hold
you
on
very
next
much.
week.
I know the time is very late where you are.
No, you tell Kofa,
What time is it over there,
resign.
Chief?
Kofa
What
should
time is
not
it?
Back tomorrow and hold on next
2
week.
weeks,
All
but
right.
not expel him.
Okay,
All right,
guys,
Mr. Gimmer,
let's
thank
go.
you.
Let's go. Let's
Have a-
go. Let's go.
Toga,
Thank you
yeah,
very much.
you guys.
Thank you very much. Toga, see you tomorrow.
Thank you, Chief.
Toga, tomorrow, man, brother.
All right, Chief. All right.